Wake yourself up, man.
I didn't get an energy drink today. I'm trying to get off of them.
Yeah, you've tried that before, and
I
then,
know,
and then
usually
you
it doesn't last
you
because
get all
of this.
angry and stuff.
Because of this.
Yeah, it's weird.
And away we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. And happy Tuesday. How do you do? Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. What up, world? Y'all, I hope so. Hope you're doing well. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, hope you're having a lovely start to the week. My name is Rob Brown. Directly across from me on the other side of the metaphorical glass today, the guy in charge of this radio program, every radio program, all radio programs everywhere. He is, of course, Colonel Grudge, hashtag Dad Kicks, the Alpha and the Omega of the Fan Upstate, the great one. Lonzo's behind the board. What up, Zoe?
So pumped and excited to be here on a beautiful Tuesday.
I can tell. It's just raw enthusiasm from the great one.
Dude, that was a ton of energy compared to what I normally do. I could bring the energy. If I have to bring
That's
the
what we
energy,
do.
No, that's not what I do. You bring the energy and I keep it even. But if we have to switch roles today, I can do that. But your energy is hard energy. My energy is goofy energy. So I don't know if they can handle the goofy energy.
Let me tell you real quick what's going on and why Lonzo's saying what Lonzo's saying, which is very fair. Very, very fair. The reason why is because yesterday evening, the lady friend and Rob Brown had a date night. She is leaving Wednesday to go out of town for a few days for her best friend's bachelorette party. And so tonight is like she's got to get packed and get the itinerary ready and all that fun stuff. So I took her out for a nice dinner date last night. And for whatever reason, we started having discussions about picking a date for a wedding, right? We're engaged. We started having discussions about, okay, when and where and who and yada, yada, all that good stuff.
So you didn't just bring this up because she's going away to a bachelorette thing, because that's what a lot of people would probably think that's why this gets brought up now.
Listen,
let
me tell you why I'm not super concerned about that. I told her, I was like, go have fun. Don't go bananas. I mean, go bananas, but like, don't go bananas, but have a good time, be safe, whatever. She's like, well, like, I'm not gonna go. I'm like, listen, I know you're not, because I'm awesome. All right. And you got lucky to find me. So you're not going to mess it up. And I respect that. And vice versa. But it just got brought up because the only question that I've been asked since we announced the engagement is, picked out a date yet? Picked out a date yet? Picked out a date yet? That's all anybody cares about. Picked out a date yet? Like, not to be rude, but people I barely know, like nice people I'm acquaintances with, people I see at various events around town that are definitely not getting invited to a wedding. Picked out a date yet?
See, I've never asked you that because I figure I'll get invited or I won't.
Yeah, you're invited.
But when that should happen, that's when I'll know.
Right.
Because,
at some point, Lonzo will get a save the date in the mail and he'll be, that'll be what it is. Right. Now, for whatever reason, yesterday we were sitting at dinner and that conversation came up. She's like, do you think we should probably start to talk about like dates, when and where? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. We're here. It's not like I planned this to be like a nice romantic evening out before you leave town for a week. Let's do that. From what I've been told, planning a wedding is a very stress-free set of conversations. So let's definitely do that. Well, we talked a little bit. We chatted a little bit. And we came to like 2 or 3 possible dates next year, right? Came to a couple of possible dates. A couple of possible venues, destinations, yada, yada, yada. Except for whatever reason, the old dumb brain clicked in and was like, dude, you now effectively have somewhere between 11 and 17 months to not be fat anymore, right? Like I'm already on the uphill fight to get her to let me wear a kilt for the ceremony, which is not going great. But I did get permission for the Ric Flair robe to the reception. That's the one I prefer between the two. But it was like you got like somewhere between 11 and 17 months to get on fat. So I decided to go, because I don't know if they are the reason I can't lose weight, but I decided to drop the energy drinks for the rest of this week and just see how it goes. How's it going to go sans caffeine in the AM? And the answer is, Lonzo, out of the gate, day one, not great. Not great.
You know, they do make some diet, what you would call soda.
Soda?
That has high caffeine in it, but no sugar. That might be a way to go. And I'm sure your energy drinks, they probably have some zero sugar drinks out there.
The one I have is zero sugar. Like the white can the white Monster I bring in is a zero sugar, 0 cal energy drink. But when you really get into it, there's like so much more to it than just, I mean, the at its core, it's, you know, CICO, calories in, calories out, sugar bad. That's pretty much the basis. But there's a lot as far as, well, if you take too much of this vitamin, this happens, and this has got this in it, and yada, yada, yada. And basically, it's like, I'm drinking water for a week, all right? No booze till the weekend. Just drink water all week and see how it goes.
You scheduled in like a walk in there? A nice brisk walk for a half hour to an hour?
I've been to the gym 6 times in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but are you walking also?
I do like a mile. Do like a mile and then hit the weights.
You should do that because cardio, getting your heart rate up, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I see it. I see it. You're starting to get some definition.
I've been back on it, Zoe.
Okay, good for you.
Look at that stream. You see that tricep right there? Your boy's on the way back.
Wait. So you were there at some point? You were there?
Yeah.
You have to be
20 years ago.
I was going to say, yeah. You have to be there to get back to it. So, I mean, I don't know. So,
ladies and gentlemen, we have got a lot to get to, a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about on the radio broadcast today. Coming up later on in said radio broadcast, the Panthers make a couple of personnel decisions yesterday. One defensive stalwart had his 5th-year option picked up. Another had his declined, and it's an interesting couple of decisions. We're going to get to that. We have to talk. The one thing about the draft we have not really gotten to yesterday, spent quite a bit of time going up and down the 5 picks of the Panthers and giving you some thoughts on where they can fill in, what they might accomplish with the team this year. And we can finish those up. But the other aspect we have not gotten to, the undrafted free agents who got signed up. Those who did not get picked by a team, yet the Carolina Panthers offered them at least an offseason deal. Any of those that might make the roster, there's 1 or 2 I got my eyes on. I'll tell you about those later on in the show. Major League Baseball. The Bravos yesterday found themselves in a doubleheader with the Mets, a doubleheader that they split. The first game goes the way of the Bravos, 9-8 victory. They tried to give away late, but finished it off. Second game, a 5-3 defeat at the hands of the New York Mets. So no ground gained, no ground lost in the NL East. Got a few other MLB stories to get to as well. We have talked a lot about the rule changes this year in Major League Baseball. The pitch clock, the disengagement rule at the plate for pitchers and batters, the banning of the shift, et cetera, et cetera. And I've given you some thoughts on it. We've had Cody on the show to give you some thoughts about it. We've heard from different fans and the one group of people that we really haven't heard a whole bunch about or from since the shift and the pitch clock and the disengagement rules went into place are the players themselves. So one young intrepid reporter decided to spend a few minutes asking, what is your favorite and least favorite things about the rule changes to MLB players themselves? We're going to give you their answers coming up later in the show. Ron Rivera was accidentally hilarious. He got asked about the draft for the Washington Commanders. Bum, 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 bum. And he made a comment about Daniel Snyder. And it's pretty damn funny. So we're going to come to that later on in the show. In the National Basketball Association, the Denver Nuggets up a deuce. Jamal Murray, back in game 1, took over. And Jokic said, that's our leader. That's the guy we're following. Yeah, except for Nikola Jokic yesterday put up a ballin' performance, and the Nuggets are now up a pair of games on the Phoenix Suns. We're going to evaluate that series. On the flip side, lots of issues going on with Beantown. We're going to talk about the Eastern Conference as well with the semis rolling on. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the league right now, not named Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is the MVP this year. We're going to come to that later on as well. Speaking of the West, as Lonzo pointed out yesterday, we are getting a matchup that I think should be, could be, would be, needs to be titled as historic. LeBron versus Steph. And I heard a very interesting conversation yesterday regarding these two cats that I want to take a run at. I heard a guy on TV say, Steph Curry, if he beats LeBron in this series, needs to be moved onto the list of the 10 greatest basketball players of all time. Fair or foul? We're going to break that down later on in the show. Is that... Oh.
Well, I mean, we haven't broke news in a while, so why not? Bryce Young is going to wear number 9.
Bryce Young gets his number assigned by the Cats.
Matt Corral gave it to him.
Yeah. Well, that's because Matt Corral's done. Did you see his Instagram post the other day?
Well, it's according to David Newton, Corral's moving from 9 to 2. You don't pick a number if you're going somewhere else.
Well, he's still under contract.
Yeah. So anyway,
he's still under contract, so he's not really going anywhere. But he put up a very
hey, Bryce Young's the biggest star in the Carolinas right now. So it is breaking news that he chose his number.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Who's breaking news brought to you by?
Brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Be a better, be smart, be smarter, and beat the books with BetQL. Get the BetQL app and make sure you're subscribed to the BetQL network. Why? Because on Saturdays from noon to 4, it's the best damn baseball show in all the land. It's Bet for the Cycle, hosted by Rob Brown and Cody Decker, as well as our best bud, Mario. I didn't tell you this week's punishment, did I, Alonzo?
You did not.
Well, let me start by telling you that Rob and Cody won the Parlay Challenge this week.
Good for you.
So this punishment goes to our production staff. I don't know where this punishment came from. Somewhere deep inside the dark, depraved mind of Cody Decker, this one was established.
Just tell me you're not messing with Mario's hair. Leave his hair alone.
No, Mario's hair is off the limits. It's off the table, all right? Off the table is Mario's hair. It's too good a hair, too good a lettuce to mess with. Mario has to, this week, by way of losing the Parlay Challenge, go to a dog park. He has to request of an owner to be allowed to, for the betterment of society, remove the dog's excrement from the park. And then he has to do so barehanded. And he cannot tell anyone that it is because he lost the bet. He just has to go up and go, hey, I'll take care of that for you. And then do so with bare hands. They then may leave the dog park.
I don't believe that a dog park will allow someone to just come up and clean things up without, wanting to know why or wanting to compensate or something like that. It's going to be difficult to pay up.
There's only a couple of rules to our Parlay v Parlay challenge on the Bet for the Cycle broadcast, and that is if you do not pay off the challenge, the next punishment is worse. And I don't know how you go up from there.
Yeah, I don't know how it could be worse.
Yeah, I don't know how you go up from there.
So it's pretty bad. I'm just trying to figure out how he can go up to a dog park and not tell them what he's doing.
Usually the punishment wouldn't be that bad, but
all right,
Mario talked a lot of junk this week.
For some reason, I was thinking dog track, not dog park.
No.
Okay,
dog park.
It might be a little bit. No, actually, I think it'd be creepier at a dog park.
Yes.
Especially if you show up and you don't have a dog.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like that's someone that looks like they're into some really weird stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right.
It's very weird. That's what he gets for talking boat all week.
I have never been to a dog park before. So he's going to pick a specific dog to follow around.
It's not up to me. I don't care. I don't know. I don't care. It's his life. He's just got to live up the punishment. That's all. This was his decision. He decided to run his mouth all week in our DMs about how he beat us, and Cody decided to break out the big gun. So I'm real glad we won this week. Real glad we won this week. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, this one's going to be fun, I think. USA Today has come out with their post-spring game college football top 25. They have ranked, after watching and evaluating all the spring games around the country, the top 25 teams coming into this year's college football season. And boy, howdy, there's some surprises. We'll give those to you when we come back, see where your team checks in the top 25. I am Rob Brown. The great one's on the board, and you're listening to The Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Okay.
All right, guys, live read right here. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Jennifer, I have not tried Celsius. Your Live Fit energy drink gives you energy, boost metabolism, and burns body fat. Okay, I'll look into Celsius. I've heard of it before. I've just never tried one. But I'll definitely look. We're going to be talking about what the players think coming up in a little while. Skrilla? Oh, Marcus, you're an evil person.
Yeah, that's
messed up, bro.
Yeah, I would just say no, I quit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would do the dog thing either. So
we agreed to the punishments, and he agreed to it. But you have to agree before the bet.
No, I get it. Yeah. I get it. It's are you willing to take the risk hoping the other people have to do it? I get that.
At some point, dyeing my hair is on the punishment list. The Rob Brown Show rolls on, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Fan Upstate. USA Today. I think it's a relatively respected college football reporting outlet. USA Today is one of the polls that we track throughout the college football season to see who might be earning a berth in the college football playoffs. The 4 this year, the 12 at the end of next season. Well, they have put out their post-spring games top 25 list. And it looks like this.
All right, can we clarify first? So this is attendance of spring game, or this is how good the teams are after
these are their rankings.
Okay, so this all right.
These are their rankings.
Okay.
At number 25, they have Wisconsin. Luke Fickell is now at Wisconsin. They are transitioning away from the ground game. They believe Wisconsin is going to start going big through the air this year and believes they can contend for the Big Ten West and a New Year's Six bowl game. Right above them, here's a very interesting one. A team that enters September on an 11-game win streak. They have the second longest active win streak in the FBS behind only Georgia. That might not last deep into September because they've got Kansas State out of the gate. That's going to be a pretty good team. I would say right now, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, if I gave y'all 20 chances, I don't think any of you could guess who this team is. The second longest win streak active in FBS football right now. Any guess at all? Because I had no idea.
So it makes so I'm guessing it's an obscure team.
It is.
It's something that people. I'm going to go with Bethune-Cookman.
Great guess. No. However, you're in the right caliber. It is the Troy Trojans. Right. Exactly what I said.
That's the team that I know South Carolina scheduled them a bunch before.
Troy used to be a team you paid $1 million to come to your house and get beat by 60. Correct. Troy, number 24 in the USA Today poll. Number 23, they got Texas Tech, new head coach Joey McGuire. They bring back 10 starters on defense, 6 on offense. That's a team that won 8 for the first time since 2013 last year. Offense has a full season under Zach Kittley as the OC. The Red Raiders do not yet have a definitive quarterback at this point, though. They are 23 at 22. TCU. They go from playing in a natty to number 22. USA Today says they're not going to sneak up on anybody this year like they did last year. There won't be a return trip in 2023. Losses to the NFL and the transfer portal. Sonny Dykes' second team will be a little bit deeper and more experienced, but everybody knows exactly who they're going to be this year. And there's a regression at quarterback as they believe that Chandler Morris will be the starter. Got to retool the entire wide receiver core as well. TCU at 22. Texas San Antonio They have at number 21, 23 wins and a pair of Conference USA championships in the past 2 seasons as they transferred to the American Conference. Earned a huge boost from the return of veteran at quarterback Frank Harris, one of the best GOF quarterbacks out there. But they've got non-conference games against Houston, Army, and Tennessee before they get Alabama, Birmingham, East Carolina, and Tulane in league play. Number 20, Kansas State. The Wildcats. They have got to replace a couple of All-Americans. Running back Deuce Vaughn, drafted by the Cowboys in that very emotional moment where his dad, a longtime scout for the Cowboys, called him to tell him he was the draft pick. Florida State transfer Trayshawn Ward will step into that role, as will sophomore DJ Giddens, who ran for 518 on 5.8 yards per carry as the backup last year. Will Howard, the quarterback there, made some gains last year, but was not used all that much in the running game. They expect to see him use the legs this year. Number 19, Oregon State won 10 games last season, despite ranking 94th in the FBS in touchdown passes, only 16, one of 7 teams in the Power 5 to average under 200 passing yards. But they got DJ Uiagalelei now. Former Clemson signal caller transferred earlier. Doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be some sort of renaissance in the passing game of the Oregon State Beavers, but he wasn't only being looked at by Oregon State for a reason. They've got a sneaky good defense there. Oregon State at 19. At 18, Brent Venables' Oklahoma Sooners, top-ranked recruiting class. Very, very strong transfer haul. Sooners finished tied for 58th in the country in 2022 with 28 sacks. They expect to get better. Trace Ford transferred in from Oklahoma State. Rondell Bothroyd from Wake Forest. Devon Sears from Texas State. And likely all of them will take over starting roles across the D-line. They also have at linebacker Indiana transfer Dasan McCulloch, who is expected to be a stud at linebacker. Venables living by the transfer portal this year, specifically defensively. We'll see if his team gets better this year. Number 17, they've got Utah. The 2-time defending Pac-12 champs have Cam Rising back on track to be ready for the season opener. Remember, he had that knee injury in the Rose Bowl, but that is not a for sure. He did have surgery. They are waiting to find out if he's going to be available for fall camp to get himself in shape for the opening of the season. As of now, Brandon Rose is the backup. A lot of questions about the QB, and that's why Utah's down at 17. One spot behind number 16, North Carolina. Come on and raise up. Drake May makes UNC, according to USA Today, quote, a dark horse contender in the ACC, end quote. 1 year as a starter, threw for 43-21 through the air, 38 touchdowns. Now, do have an offensive coordinator change. Chip Lindsey will be coming in. He likes to lean on the run. Will we see them take the ball out of the hands of Drake May in a learning curve? We will find out. The Tar Heels did bring in a couple of defensive transfers to try to get better. North Carolina at 16, one spot behind, and this one is the first one that I do consider a bit of a surprise. All the way down at 15, according to USA Today, Lonzo, is LSU. LSU reloaded through the portal this year. Defensively, they could have as many as 6 new starters that came in through the portal. They ranked 51st in the FBS last season in yards surrendered per play, but they brought in, I think, 3 linebackers to the portal and a pair of defensive backs as well. Jaden Daniels showed in a couple of games that he can absolutely be a game changer as a running quarterback, but they've got to be more balanced. The Tiger Men find themselves behind number 14, Iowa. Iowa, 25 point per game average last year. Averaged 24.9 every season from 2013 to 2020. You know who the quarterback at Iowa is this year, Lonzo? Cade McNamara, the Michigan man transferring over. Tight end Eric All is a Michigan transfer as well. He was an honorable all-conference mention in 2021. They have got a very experienced wide receiver core for McNamara to work with, and the defense is going to be stout. Again, they might be better defensively than they were last year, and they were good last year. Iowa above LSU, a little bit of a surprise. Don't be shocked if the Hawkeyes are hanging around late in the season.
Yeah, okay.
Not a McNamara believer?
Well, I'm not going to root for someone who used to play for Michigan or give them any confidence.
Number 13, the Oregon Ducks. Dan Lanning and the Ducks had a solid, but solid at best, debut last year. Oregon has to replace Christian Gonzalez, probably the best cornerback in the draft this year. Noah Sewell was the all-conference pick in linebacker last year. He will step back in. Jordan Birch, former South Carolina Gamecock, has transferred there. Was a good pass rusher last season. Should easily be one of the best in the Pac-12 this year. The Ducks sit at number 13. One spot ahead of them. Number 12, the Tennessee Volunteers. Joe Milton will try to step in and replace Hendon Hooker. He looked good at the very end of the season last year in replacement of Hendon Hooker, who went down with that knee injury against the Gamecocks in Columbia. But it was late in the year. There was a lot of time. Teams they were coming up against were a little bit banged up. Could he lead the Volunteers to a New Year's Six game or maybe a playoff this year? I don't know. The secondary for Tennessee is not great. Defensive lapses last year allowed Florida, Bama, and South Carolina all to work the Volunteers. There's work to do. That's why they're at 12, one spot behind. Number 11, Washington. The Huskies flew under the radar last year, had a very solid 2022 season under Kalen DeBeer. The key to remaining a New Year's Six threat, got to get better at the running game. They've got a veteran quarterback, Michael Penix, former Indiana man, who ends up in Washington now because they're going to let him turn it loose. But they brought in Dylan Johnson, who was a solid runner for Mississippi State, as well as Daniel Nagata from Arizona State. They joined Cam Davis and Richard Newton. They have got multiple 1,000-yard threats, both behind the line of scrimmage and at the wide out position. So really interested in the Huskies. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we get to the top 10. Sitting at number 10, South California, USC, the Trojans. Alex Grinch had his defense check in last year at 124th in yards allowed per play.
His last name is Grinch?
Yep.
Okay.
You're an average one. I can't do it today. I just don't have it. Don't have it. Mr. Grinch. 124th nationally last season in yards allowed per play. The Trojans lost Tuli Tubula to... Why is it that I always blow it? I practice names. Tui Pelotu. Anyway, they get a bunch of transfers in. Georgia interior lineman Bear Alexander, probably the biggest of the group. His name's Bear.
Bear
Alexander. One of 4 Power 5 transfers set to come in just in the front 7. Caleb Williams is expected to be your Heisman Trophy frontrunner this year. USC's offense is going to put points on the board. They just couldn't stop anybody last year. Will it be different with the transfers this year? We will find out. Number 9, Lonzo, are you ready to put him back up? Because Texas is back, baby. If you don't believe me, ask Texas. Texas checking in at number 9. A historically bad 21 season under Sarkisian.
Wow, looking forward to seeing that Arch Manning kid play.
The Longhorns will stick with Quinn Ewers at quarterback as of right now. Surround the second-year starter with a deeper collection of skill talent. But they lost Bijan Robinson, definitively the best running back in college football last year. Listen, Texas on paper, Texas is the best team in the Big 12, on paper. But they should have been last year too, all right? I will believe Texas is back when Texas is back. At number 8, the USA Today. Their post-spring game top 25, they have got Lonzo, the Clemson Tigers, checking in at number 8.
Wow, all the way down at number 8.
All the way down at number 8.
Don't they know that Cade's the quarterback?
And Garrett Riley's in town, baby. Garrett Riley, former TCU coordinator, a coup by Dabo to get him on board. Cade Klubnik has some questions about the wide receiver core that has to be answered. The problem last year that that very few of us talked about was that the defense finished outside the top 20 in scoring for the first time since 2015. The offense was not what you wanted it to be. But we thought going into the season that the Clemson defense was going to carry them. They lost KJ Henry, Brian Bresee, and a host of others to the draft in the portal. There's work to it. Like, everybody's fired up, and it should be, about Clemson's offense. Can anybody tell me how the defense is going to be better this year? Because that's the biggest question.
There was a time, because of the defensive coordinator, you knew that they were going to reload. Now, I don't know.
Question marks abound. They are one spot behind number 7, Notre Dame. Sam Hartman, the Wake Forest transfer, put a stranglehold on the starting job with a very, very strong spring training and game. Was everything they thought he was going to be when he transferred in. Sam Hartman left Wake Forest, with all due respect to Wake Forest, because Sam Hartman is an NFL caliber talent, and he was never going to get to show that off at Wake Forest. He will at Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman's Irish started in the crapper, ended up winning 9 of 11 to end last season. It was a lot of momentum building for the Irish down the stretch. Can they get ready for a start that is hot out the gate? They catch Ohio State in the first 3 weeks of football. Going to be an interesting one. Speaking of the Buckeyes, Lonzo, your Buckeyes are ranked at number 6, according to the USA Today. Bit of a quarterback competition going on. There are big picture concerns around Ryan Day's 5th season. Obviously, we've got to replace C.J. Stroud. 0-2 against the Wolverines in the last 2 years, which Lonzo says puts you on the hot seat. A lot of personnel changes that have been made across both sides of football. USA Today, Lonzo, says that you guys are the 3rd best team in the Big Ten this year.
Until we know who the quarterback is, I'm not surprised.
That's fair. At number 5, Lonzo, I told y'all, look out. It's not a joke. Mike Norvell's Seminoles of Florida State ranked 3 full spots ahead of the Clemson Tigers at number 5. USA Today calls them, quote, one of the fastest rising teams in the FBS, end quote, and a, quote, breakout candidate in 2023. Jordan Travis at quarterback is already being listed as one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the Heisman odds so far. Jared Verse, pass rusher, broke out as one of the best in football last year. Says they have both a deep offensive and defensive line and a very solid receiver core. They end it by saying, quote, Florida State, not Clemson, enters the season as the favorite for the ACC title for the first time in a long time. I told y'all midway through the season last year that Clemson had to make a move now, because if they fall backwards and FSU takes steps forwards, I could see FSU threatening Clemson. USA Today has them 3 full spots higher inside the top 5. Let's take a break. When we come back, I will give you the top 4 teams in this poll. You will notice at this point, South Carolina not in the top 25. They rank behind Troy. They rank behind, what was it, San Antonio, Texas? Texas, San Antonio? Is that disrespect, Lonzo? You know, we're big on disrespect around these parts. Give you the top 4. We'll get some more thoughts. Your texts are welcome, 71307. Start it with FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. James said, I saw the horns down gesture. I'm telling.
Who you telling now?
Them.
Oh, okay.
The them. The they.
Gamecocks 35-8. Coastal Carolina is down 2 spots to number 8 this week, while Duke is up 10 spots to number 10. Campbell drops to number 13. East Carolina down 2 spots to number 14. The Atlanta Braves put a doubleheader with the Mets on Monday. Francisco Alvarez hit a go-ahead 2-run double in the 6th, and the Mets beat Atlanta 5-3 for the split. Sean Murphy had a pair of 3-run homers in the opener, powering Atlanta to a 9-8 win. Tough news for the Braves in the nightcap. Ronald Acuna Jr.
Refunds.com. Get refunds.com. Baseball is back. The free Odyssey app lets you listen to local coverage for the team you love. Live stream your favorite sports radio station, or jump back and listen to the best segments on demand. Don't forget, we talk to the manager every Tuesday.
It absolutely is.
Don't listen to some guy from the other side of the country tell you about your team. Live conversations for your local team.
Now it's hard. Looking to buy some shirts.
Get passionate and download the free Odyssey app today.
DQ presents The Sound of Summer Calling. Hey, it's me, Summer.
I don't know if the shoes match.
Little league games and all the other fun in the sun, but you gotta get to DQ.
Yeah, they're all right.
Parento.
They're really like brown sneaks.
Summer Blizzard menu is here, and it brought 5 iconic summer flavors.
Sorry, we were fashion critiquing our boss. Which is fair.
Because, fashion is our life.
That's our strong point. Look good, feel good, play good, win good.
She needs a dental hygienist to unveil fresh smiles. How long has she been under UV light? Indeed can help her hire great people fast. I need Indeed. Indeed.
Thanks, husband. We put a few together.
Connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
DQ presents The Sound of Summer Calling.
So we tried the new Culvers yesterday.
I know you're busy with beach days, little league.
It's exactly like the other one, except clean. And everyone in Simpsonville still seems to want to eat there.
And novelty will wear off eventually.
Maybe. We did get a thing of ice cream, but I don't know if it's custard or ice cream. I think they only sell
Does it not
custard.
say it on the label?
I couldn't see it, but it goes out of date in like a month. So maybe this custard lasts
Is it
less.
ranch flavored?
Yeah. No, it was not. It was Rocky Road. But we're also getting an Outback pretty soon. So I'm pretty excited about that.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM
from the free Odyssey app.
Never had one, James. I hear that it's overrated.
Top 4 teams according to USA Today. Your top 10 thus far consist of number 10 USC, That would be the California version of USC. Number 9, Texas. Number 8, Clemson. Number 7, Notre Dame. Number 6 went to the Buckeyes of Ohio State. Florida State checks in at number 5. At number 4, Penn State. James Franklin and his Nittany Lions are ranked at number 4, and yet not the highest Big Ten team this year. Penn State has very quietly put together one of the best offensive lines in football. It has been probably the biggest weak point for Penn State, ironically enough, over the years. But they are led by All-American left tackle Olu Fashanu. They have got All-Americans across the board. Sean Clifford is out. Drew Allar is taking over at that spot. Nick Singleton will be one of the nation's best running backs. If Allar meets expectations, the Nittany Lions could very quietly win the Big Ten this year. We will find out. They are ranked number 4. One spot ahead of them at number 3, the University of Alabama. Jalen Milroe will take over for the number 1 overall draft pick, Bryce Young. He was 19 of 37 with 2 picks during the spring game. Redshirt freshman Ty Simpson connected on 12 of 26 for $155 and 1 turnover, but both of them ran the ball well. The expectations this year are that Alabama might go back to the ground game a little bit. They've got quarterbacks that can move the ball with their legs. They have dipped into the portal, though. Notre Dame transfer Tyler Buckner has moved into Alabama. And though he moved in late in the spring, there are some that believe that he could take the starting job away from Jalen Milroe. Alabama's got a new offensive coordinator in Tommy Rees. They also have a lot of questions to answer in the secondary. They lost a couple of guys to the draft out of the defensive backfield, and they have to put some work into the DB field. You are likely going, especially early in the year, to be able to throw the ball well on the Alabama Crimson Tide, which is part of the reason I think Alabama is going to return to an old school Nick Saban feel. We are going to run you and run you and run you until you fall out. We'll find out. Number 2 on this list, no surprise, the only Big Ten team remaining, the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan, another team that hit the portal hard, especially across the offensive line. They are going to rebuild with a couple of portal guys. Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards give the Wolverines maybe the best running back field in the Big Ten. These are 2 guys that almost guarantee you points when you get into the red zone. This is, according to USA Today, on paper, they say the, quote, strongest and deepest roster of the Jim Harbaugh era and a team worthy of being viewed as Georgia's biggest threat, end quote. They've got an easy non-conference schedule. In the Big Ten, the only threats they faced in the regular season this year are Penn State and The Ohio State University at the end of the year. So they should not be exhausted when they get down the stretch and take on those 2 teams. Michigan is the heavy Big Ten favorite, according to USA Today. And, of course, that leaves us with the number 1 team in all the land. Carson Beck and his Georgia Bulldogs. Step in 4 is out. Carson Beck is going to step into that role, was able to, in the spring, outplay Brock Vandagriff and Gunnar Stockton. The running game, Dejon Edwards is going to be a stud this year. Kendall Milton is going to be a very, very good third down option defensively. The Bulldogs have lost a lot through the portal. This may be a year where the key to beating the Dogs is putting up 40 on a weakened defense, but offensively, they are still loaded, looking for natty number 3 and a dynasty crown to be handed to them there in Athens. Lonzo, of your top 25, who jumped out at you as too high, too low?
Wow, it's hard to judge after spring games. I mean, this is like way too early. There are so many questions for a lot of teams who lost players to the NFL, like Alabama, like Ohio State. Michigan being ranked that high when you're talking about them rebuilding their offensive line through the portal, I think that might be a little high, but they've done pretty well the last couple of years. So if anyone, this has nothing to do with my bias against Michigan. Yes, it does. Michigan is way too high.
Michigan too high, up at number 2. So who would you put above Michigan? Alabama, Penn State, Florida State, obviously not. Ohio State?
Not Ohio State, because again, the questions about quarterback are still out there.
Sure.
And we're going to see how Ryan Day is going to handle the pressure. I probably would go with Alabama too.
So Lonzo's top 25 would have been Georgia. Georgia 1 still?
Yeah, for
Georgia
sure. I mean,
won.
you can't take Georgia out of number 1. What have they done the last couple of years?
That's fair. Bama 2, Michigan 3. Or are you moving Penn State ahead of them?
Yeah, I'm moving Penn State ahead of them.
Penn State 3, Michigan 4, Florida State 5?
I still
you don't believe in Mike Norvell yet?
No, I don't believe in Florida State, but let's just leave them there. Sure.
Leave them at 5. Ohio State 6, Notre Dame 7, Clemson 8, Texas 9, SoCal 10. The Gamecocks not on the board, according to USA Today.
If you're a Gamecock fan, are you offended by that? I'm not. I mean, they have to do some more to prove some things.
Texter said, Carolina fan here, but they don't deserve a top 25 spot. You've got to stay consistent, end quote. I think that's fair to some degree. I do want to point out
this is something they need to work their way into, and they're like on the edge of doing that.
Sure.
So we'll see what they do this year.
I would suspect if this was a top 30 list, we'd have heard South Carolina be mentioned.
Probably.
Right? That being said, to me, polls are or should be treated as power rankings, right? This is what your team looks like and is capable of today. Today, what are they capable of? Florida State did not end in the top 5 last year.
And you said this is a USA Today.
Correct.
So is it just one guy who put it together, or is it multiple?
I believe this is an amalgamation of USA Today writers.
Okay,
putting their polls
because if
together.
it was one guy, then you got biases that would be in there and things like that. But if it's multiples, then
my understanding.
Last I checked, it's May 2nd, though.
It is, and again, this is a post-spring game situation, right? We have now seen the spring contest. You can go to YouTube and watch the highlights from pretty much anybody's spring game. This is post-spring game. And there are some teams on here who had really good springs. There's a lot of teams that have really good springs, and they don't turn into anything at all. Like Lonzo pointed out, it's May 2nd. But I do find some of them interesting. Florida State at 5. Clemson 3 full spots behind FSU despite beating them last year, I find interesting. South Carolina not mentioned, but the Troy Trojans are, I find very interesting as well. All right, your thoughts are welcome. 71307 is the number to text the radio broadcast. Start your text with FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. How you feeling, Clemson fans? How you feeling, Carolina fans? How you feeling, everybody else, about where your team is or ... isn't ranked? We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet RAM, the only corporate card and spend management.
Yes, that 10 p.m. tip time for game 1.
Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value.
As a guy who always looks for the silver linings, Lonzo.
That's why they make DVRs.
The good news for a 10 p.m. tip is that I don't have to worry about ignoring the girlfriend to watch it because she will not be awake.
Businesses that use RAM add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding RAM could be one of the best decisions.
I might catch the first quarter before I nod off.
$50 when you join RAM. Just go to RAM.
And then watch the rest tomorrow morning.
Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
There's a race going on inside your body, and sometimes the bad guys, otherwise known as arthritis, get there first. That's when the joint pain kicks in.
Your healing process is just too slow and just can't catch up. And it needs just a little bit of help from QC Kinetics.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a QC Kinetics medical director.
We all know that you can heal yourself. If you
I'm gonna tell you right now, James. The Whataburger that's going in is about 35 to 40 minutes from my house.
Oh, they have one that's actually coming here?
Yeah. It is going into
This looks like one of those places that's popular because people say it's popular.
No, Whataburger's incredible.
Yeah, again, I need to judge for myself.
No, I'll judge for you. It's good.
Yeah, I know you will. That's the thing.
It is. The first one is going in Duncan.
Oh, it's in Duncan?
Where's Duncan?
Dude, that's it's where
like
Burns.
a ways, right?
That's where Burns is.
Is that Duncan?
Yes. You were like there like a bunch last year.
Anyway, so now I know after every Burns game where the last stop on the way home is going to be. Shames. No. We just last night picked a year. All right. We worked it out to a year.
South Carolina 811 SCBA and this station.
Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship finally debuts in Greenville at Bon Secours Wellness Center Friday, May 12th. See the King of the Carolinas, Tony Loco Soto, fight Tyler Goodjohn, plus 11 other bare knuckle fights. Tickets at bkfc.com.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more.
Listen, cut him a break. He hasn't drank an energy drink today. When he like drinks like you guys have watched, he drinks like 4 of those a show. He knows now. You know, I get you guys being mean about it. You should probably be mean about this. You absolutely probably should be.
You are the best, man.
I'm all right.
You are the best.
I am award winning. Not recently, but you know.
Listen on your phone, download the Odyssey app, and search the Fan Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound, but you really want to go into the subject.
Your smart speaker. Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFBC HD3. Just one more time. And on your computer at
FanUpstate.com. Upstate. WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3 the official sports voice of the Upstate Fan. CBS Sports Radio. Live from the Philadelphia.
And check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real.
Yeah. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Rob only.
The Fan Upstate.
off we go into our numero dos, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. He is the great one, Lonzo. That was a hell of a promo, man. The Dr. Pimple Popper promo was excellent work from the great one. It always is.
It's been on there for a couple of weeks.
That's first I've heard it.
Yeah.
First I've heard it, and it was excellent. And by the way, I stand by every word I said. Every one of them. 10 p.m. tip-off tonight. LeBron v. Steph, Lake Show v. Dubs. If you'd have asked me a week and a half ago, I'd have said the Lakers have figured it out. They've put something together. They are now the team to beat out in the West. But it turns out the Kings were actually a pretty good basketball team. And the Warriors figured out how to hit them with the old smoke show down the stretch, including a couple of dominant performances late. That being said, if I ask you to list active players in the NBA today that you would consider generational, I think LeBron tops the list.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I would agree LeBron tops the list. Is Steph number 2? Active players today, if I asked you for active generational players to put the list together, LeBron's number 1. Is Steph with 4 rings number 2?
I was going to say, here's the thing that makes you stand out. It's rings, and Steph has them.
Yeah.
And he didn't go join another team to do it. He was homegrown where he was. He was drafted to Golden State. They built that team from the ground up and were able to win that many championships and be in more that they didn't win. I don't want to, but yeah, I think you have to say he's generational because of what he can do with the 3-point.
Steph Curry is, I think, the best distance shooter in the history of the league.
All right, Kevin's saying Giannis, but the thing is, he hasn't played long enough to really know. I mean, you could throw KD in there also, but the only time he's won anything is when he joined a team that had already won everything a couple of times.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, I think, is at 28 years old, probably the next guy to join the list, right? He is an NBA champion. He's a finals MVP. He's a 2-time NBA MVP. He's a 7-time All-Star. He's a 4-time All-NBA first teamer, 2-time second teamer, a defensive player of the year, a 4-time all-defensive first team. Like, Giannis is filthy, and he's been in Milwaukee for a decade. I think Giannis is, if he's not on the list, he's next up. But he hasn't done what Steph's done. Now, there are certain limitations to Giannis. He plays in Milwaukee, right? He's not playing in a major market. And there is a bit of detrimental impact on you doing that. That is one of the reasons that I get absolutely infuriated every time a good player ends in a small market team and every New York media member starts screaming about how they should be a Knick. They should be a Knick. Because it's already difficult enough to be good in a place like Milwaukee. And Giannis, without Giannis, Milwaukee is not Milwaukee right now, right? They're just another cast-off team. So I'd say Giannis will be next on that list. But if I asked you about the most impactful, the most generational players active in the NBA today, I think LeBron's 1 and Steph is 2. And considering the fact we might get 2 more seasons out of LeBron, right? Might get 2 more seasons. LeBron is all but insinuated at this point that his goal is to be able to play 1 year with Bronny, right? When LeBron gets to the league, LeBron will take a vet minimum to play on the same team as his boy, which, for the record, I think is kind of cool.
LeBron taking a vet minimum. I don't know about that.
I mean, he's a billionaire. He's gonna be fine.
I get that he could do that, but I don't think he'll do that.
I think he does it if only for his parting gift to Bronny to be, we're gonna leave you in a spot where when I'm done with this team, they still have mucho dinero to bring in another guy to replace me, right? But we'll see. That's all hypothetical down the road. The point here is that LeBron's made it relatively clear he wants a season with Bronny. He's going to hang in the league until he gets that, and then he'll call it a career. So maybe 2 more years in the league, and then LeBron's done. Steph Curry, despite his boyish charm, Steph Curry is 35 years old, right? He's been in the game a minute. He's only 3 years younger than LeBron. Every time we talk about how incredible what LeBron is doing is, and it is. Every time we talk about how incredible this is from LeBron, Steph Curry's 3 years younger than him. Steph Curry has changed the way people look at basketball. He's changed the way people look at the three-point shot as a weapon. There's always been guys who were snipers. I used to love watching Peja Stojakovic when he was in his prime. When Peja was a set sniper, he was fun to watch. But Steph Curry also adds the ability to, be a great point guard into the equation. Not only can he burn you from 5 feet behind the arc consistently, but he's going to get you 10, 11, 12 assists in a game too, because he's a great point guard. I think these 2 guys, LeBron and Steph, are the 2 most important players in the NBA right now. And because they are, this matchup becomes, to me, incredibly important. Not in that one of them is going to get a leg up in the legacy conversation, though they will. It's important to me because you're talking about the last couple of years of a pair of generationally talented players. And there's a trip to the Western Conference Finals on the line. To me, I think we're wildly fortunate. Every round's given us some good matchups so far, right? Every round has given us some good matchups. We're getting some superstars here and there going up against each other. We're going to talk about James Harden here in just a second and what he did last night. Can't wait for Joel Embiid to get back and healthy. Jalen Tatum are doing fun stuff to watch. But Bron v. Steph, I think, are the 2 generational players of the kids in high school now, right?
Is this a scary time for the NBA, knowing that the end is coming for a couple of the guys that are carrying it, at least as far as promotion goes? About the guys that they could promote worldwide?
Losing LeBron, yes, 100%, absolutely, without a doubt, right? LeBron is your global ambassador. How many times have we had the conversation? If you want to sell an NBA lunchbox in Japan, you throw Bron on it. If you want to sell an NBA jersey in Yugoslavia, LeBron's on it. LeBron is a global ambassador for the game. I don't care how you feel about his politics or his social media presence. If we listed the most famous athletes on planet Earth today, LeBron's in the top 5. I think you would probably have a couple of European soccer players above him. Here, let's look at the list. According to rapidleaks.com. It's just the first one that came up. Ronaldo won.
So this is not an adult diaper company.
Correct.
Okay.
Not that kind of leak.
Okay. All right.
Ronaldo 1, Messi 2, Neymar 3, LeBron 4, which is about what I expected the list to be. I expected to see a cricket player on there somewhere. There is at 5. Virat Kohli of India. Big fan.
Oh, yeah. Virat.
Big fan.
Love that dude.
Yeah. One of the most influential athletes in the world without a doubt about it. They have Conor McGregor at number 6. Federer and Nadal at 7 and 8. Number 9, John Cena.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, globally, everyone knows who he is. And the ones who say they don't, they do, but they're just pretending.
Let's see, just out of curiosity, what's this list based on? They compiled salary, endorsements, Facebook likes, Twitter followers, and Instagram followers and put those numbers together. Let's see. Ronaldo, $52.2 million a year, 27 million endorsements, over 111 Facebook likes, million, obviously not just 111. 42.1 million Twitter followers, 576 million Instagram followers. Messi, 48.5 million a year, 22 in endorsements, 114 mil on Facebook, 456 mil on Instagram. Neymar, 14.7 mil, 17 in endorsements, 56.5 on Facebook, 21.9 on Twitter, 207 on Instagram. LeBron, 23 mil a year, 44 in endorsements, 22.5 million Facebook likes, 31.2 million Twitter followers, and 150 million Instagram followers.
How many of those guys do you follow on social media?
None. Literally none.
Yeah, I follow LeBron, and John Cena follows me.
Yeah.
Or he did. I mean, I haven't checked to see if he still does, but, you know.
Until you know he doesn't, he does.
Well, I lost my check mark because, you know, like, a lot of people did. So I don't know what that really means, but maybe he went through and went, nah.
I mean, it feels like going to see if he still follows you would be a waste of time.
He followed me at one point.
No, I'm just saying, because if you check, you can't see him.
That's true. That is very true.
Anyway.
I got on that one.
Yeah, you did. Anyway, LeBron is the most popular player on planet Earth from the Americas. That's not true. From North America. Neymar got him beat. Losing LeBron will be a blow to the league. Because LeBron's pull is not because he's wildly entertaining. It's because he's the best to ever do it.
Watch it now.
So what I said. Cristiano Ronaldo, Leo Messi. The reason the pull is there for those two is because they are by and large considered by most of us the best to ever do it. And there's 2 of them doing it, right? Like, it is very clear that they are the best 2 soccer players of all time, but they're doing it against each other at the same time, which is incredible. So I'm not surprised or shocked by any of this. And losing Bron is going to be a huge blow to the league. Same with losing Steph. Steph Curry is a walking advertisement for how good the NBA can be. Now, it does not feel like Steph is on the border of retirement because, as one texter to 71307, start your text with FAN FAM, we'll read them on the air, says, Steph never stops moving. His endurance is unmatched. And I think that is one of the reasons I love Steph Curry. You can knock him for the attitude and the facial whatever and the binky and all that.
Binky, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to beat you to it. You can knock him for all of that. The one thing you cannot knock Steph Curry for is outright endurance. He is tenacious. He has, as Bobby Bowden used to say, tenacity. The guy never stops. And I think he needs credit for that. So this series is going to be a phenomenal series, I think. Because not only do you have 2 teams, one of which took all year to find their stride, one of which had to get pushed to the brink by Sacramento to do it. But you got 2 teams with legacy players. 2 teams with legacy players in the NBA. And one of them gets to carry on one step closer, and one of them's done in the twilight of their careers. This is an incredible matchup between a Lakers team that wants to be very physical inside and a Warriors team that is going to be pushing all around the outside. And I can't wait. Speaking of, in this week's edition of Draymond Green Sucks, after Golden State eliminated Sacktown with that 120-100 victory in Game 7, Sabonis, you'll remember he's the one, Lonzo, that Draymond caved his chest in with a Finn Balor-esque stomp to the ribcage. You remember that, right? It was kind of a big deal.
Coup de grace.
After the game was over, Domantas Sabonis, who is just a old school Eastern European player, Sabonis left. He apparently did not shake hands with the Dubs. And Draymond, on his podcast, said, quote, "I lost a lot of respect for Sabonis. You don't shake guys' hands after you lose. I don't respect that. I once left the court when we lost Game 7 to the Cavs. I went to my locker and sat down, and I said, this don't feel right. And I walked back out on the court, and I showed everybody love. You lost. Deal with it. Pay your respect. That was whack to me. That's whack. I wouldn't even necessarily say lost respect, but I don't respect that, and that's whack." End quote.
It's a lot of whack. Is whack something that's a part of your vernacular? Do you use that quite
Used
a bit?
to be a lot more. Like
It's like a 90s term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like middle to early high school, everything was whack. Everything was whack. I checked this from Draymond the other day. I have two problems with it. Number one, the first problem I have is you lost, deal with it, pay your respect. My man, respect is given to those who earn it. And I want literally all you youngins out there listening to Uncle Rob, respect is not given based on who you are, where you come from, your age, your position, your involvement in any particular entity or group. Respect is given when respect is earned. Respect is given based on your actions, your behaviors, your character, and nothing more. Draymond doesn't get to just say, pay your respect. You were not a king holding out a ring to be kissed. I got to tell you, Zoe, if I'm laying on the ground after a basketball play and a dude takes a size 16 and tries to collapse my chest under it, going to be a hefty minute before I get respect back for that guy or anybody who supports him. You know, I am traditionally absolutely handshake guy. When I used to coach Little League and my team lost, you get in the line, you shake their hand, you congratulate them, you lose with humility. It's an important life lesson to understand how to eat an L and be better for it. But if you rolled over and punched me in the face, yeah, no.
See, it's a lot easier to do in team sports. Never had a problem with it in team sports, but in wrestling, and I think they may have done away with this in some places. After the match, you shake hands with the guy you just had a match with. And sometimes that was really hard.
What if that dude racked you in the junk?
Like I said, sometimes that was really hard to do.
Yeah.
I had my eyeball scratched. I've had a bunch of stuff happen to me on the wrestling mat. And then because you're required to, you shake hands. Whether you want to or not, you do it. You don't have to make eye contact. You shake hands, you walk away. And you had to shake hands with the coaches also.
You put that boot through my sternum.
What he should have done is he should have shook hands with everybody else and just ignored Draymond.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like,
no, I'm not.
Y'all supported that guy. Y'all excused that.
Well,
I mean, like, I know he's
Golden State kind of has that reputation, don't they?
Right.
Yeah, that they're kind of arrogant,
so
like they think they're true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I shake hands with anybody of a team that supported and apologized for a dude who tried to cave my chest in? Why? Why would I do that? Right? Texter said, Rob, don't forget Sabonis grabbed Draymond by the ankle as well, grabbed Clay by the back of his jersey and tried jerking him backwards to the ground.
Yeah, but they did all that. So he's just as disrespectful. Yeah, okay. Who doesn't do that stuff in the NBA? Everybody's grabbing and doing that kind of thing. It's different than launching yourself up in the air and coming down with a foot on someone's chest.
The coup de grace.
Yeah, I mean, that's a totally different thing.
First off, I am not thoroughly convinced at this point that Sabonis grabbing Dre's ankle was intentional, right? I don't know. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying I don't know for certain that it was. And I will give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, maybe given
the rights to the benefit.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe given Draymond's history, he was worried while he was laying there because Draymond's been known to do some things to people who are prone on the ground.
Yep, that's fact. Texas said, Robbie, you were talking about Dr. Pimple Popper. You should watch Dr. Down Under.
Stop. What is wrong with you?
I'm assuming it's about a medical doctor in Australia, right?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Is this not a show about an MD in Aussie? I assume that's what that was.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Believer.
Yeah, now since you've questioned it, you're going to get follow-ups to explain to you exactly what that is. Enjoy.
Let's take a break. Got a few more things I want to get to here on the radio broadcast today. Carolina's draft is in the books. Lonzo and I both gave it a B. Could have been a little bit better. Could have been dramatically worse. Let's take a look at the back end of that draft and the undrafted free agents that have been signed by the Carolina Panthers. Take a look at who could, might, will, possibly, potentially have an impact on the 23 Carolina season. We'll do that next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Texter said, Rob, check this out, and just sent a YouTube link. Danger, Will Rob.
Yeah, you could go ahead and click on that. Sure.
Mostly sunny skies today, high 69. Tonight, mostly clear, near 45. Wednesday, sunshine, high 69. Thursday, plenty of blue skies and
helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/.
According to Snopes, 2 weeks ago, an 88-year-old Frenchman arrived at the hospital with a World War I artillery shell stuck in his lower posterior cavity, according to local journalists. Hospital staff called in specialists to determine whether the device could explode and partially evacuated the facility. I'm assuming he also evacuated his facilities.
Well, he couldn't. That's why I had to go to the doctor.
Sponsored by InvisibleFence.com. Invisible Fence brand gives your pets the freedom to enjoy their yard and you the confidence in your decision. With a 99% success rate, a money-back performance guarantee, and financing options, you can feel confident that both your pet and your investment are protected. Visit InvisibleFence.com.
Unique and unlike any other sports talk show, it's BetMGM Tonight, Monday through Friday from 7 to 11, only on the Fan. BetMGM Tonight is the friend zone for casual and hardcore sports fans. Live sports betting updates for all the night's games as they happen. Get the latest scores, sides, totals, props, parlays, futures, and much more with hosts Quinton Mayo, Trista Crick, and Brian Horvath. Real-time, relevant sports wagertainment tonight at 7. BetMGM Tonight.
Roger, that should be an anal, not a anal, because that's how that's, you know.
Let's take a look at the overall draft of the Carolina Panthers. I give it a couple of grades. Lonzo and I yesterday both said, I think we both said B plus, correct?
I said A minus.
You say A minus,
which is basically a B plus. I mean, you know, it's.
I said B plus. They said A minus, and let's start with this. The true grade of this draft will be revealed in about 3 years when we find out if BY is the guy and if we find out if John Mingo is worthy of the pick that they spent on him at number 39. The majority of the reports that I've read had Mingo really more of a guy to be taken around the end of the second, start of the third. They took him very early in the second round. But again, we mentioned that wide receiver was a big need. And as far as I was concerned, the Panthers decided to go best available need, right? And that might have been Mingo at that spot. I don't think there was a cornerback that I liked more at cornerback than I liked Mingo at wide receiver for this pick. We are going to be able to put an official draft grade down here when we find out if Bryce Young is the guy or is not, if we find out if Mingo is the right guy or not as well. I think that taking only 5 players when you were coming in with, 8 picks? Ultimately, you traded a couple away. Taking only 5 players is not a strategy that I disliked. But if you're going to take 5 players, to me, you got to take 5 players that are really, really built for your club. Again, there's a couple that I like. As I mentioned, I like John Mingo. Jamie Robinson out of Florida State, 5th round pick. He's a safety. Robinson is a guy that I think has the potential to be an excellent NFL safety. All the physical attributes are there. I don't think he was exceptionally well coached up in college. Florida State did not really rely on defensive backs all that much this year. And so I think you basically rolled the dice on both of those cats. But I am going to say I'm giving Carolina Lonzo an A+ for this whole offseason. I think it was an A+ offseason top to bottom. I think David Tepper, starting at the top, I think David Tepper did the right thing. I think David Tepper decided to be the owner that instead of having an ego, instead of going, I'm the man, I know best, not that there's any owners out there that do that. My Jerry Jones and my George W. Bush sound suspiciously
I was going to say,
similar.
they sound, it's just Texas, so I kind of get it. Yeah.
Texas. I think Tepper went to Fitzy, was like, look, I'm going to be involved, but I'm going to let football guys make football decisions. And they landed on Frank Reich. Frank Reich, a guy that a lot of us questioned why it was he was let go from Indy in the first place. Frank Reich, a guy that has a specific knack for working with QBs on a team who was lacking a QB and knew that they had a good opportunity to get one. A team that, knowing they had a coach with an acumen for working with quarterbacks and an opportunity to get one, decided to roll all the dice and move all the way up to number 1 overall to select their guy. They went up. They reached consensus a week before the draft. They decided who their guy was, and they got him. They didn't waver. They didn't back off. They didn't get tempted, as they very, very easily could have. They did not get tempted into taking another trade back, risking it, not getting the guy that was their consensus, etc. I think Scott Fitterer was very adept in how he played this whole thing. We found out after the trade went through to get number 1 overall for, by the way, what I think was a pretty good price to buy it for. That Arizona was in that mix, that Houston was in that mix, and that at least 2 other teams were in the mix with Chicago trying to get number 1. And Carolina not only secured the bag, but they didn't pay a ton for it. You gave away a couple of picks early, and you gave away DJ Moore. So then you went and you found your guy to try to pick up the slack from losing DJ Moore. I honestly think the draft itself was a B. But I think the offseason as a whole was an A+. The good news here is I think there is a confidence in the Panthers organization and in the Panther fan base that frankly hasn't been there in a couple of years.
This has you, me anyway, looking very forward to August and Wofford to be able to see these pieces on the field together and see what Bryce Young looks like behind that line and see what some of these other guys can do, see all these receivers and who's going to stand out above the rest. I'm really looking forward to August.
Yeah, again, you got OTAs coming up. You got voluntary workouts that have been happening the past few days. OTAs not too terribly far away. We're going to get our first glimpse of the recently crowned number 9. Short Kings wear number 9. Looking forward to
Short King.
August.
That's what you're.
Short Kings.
That's
yeah, they're Short Kings.
Short King. I don't.
They're short, but they're kings.
Okay.
Respect.
I thought you just nicknamed him Short King.
No, short Kings are what we call the less elevated amongst us. Short Kings.
Diminutive and dominant?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
D&D.
Okay.
I like it. BY wearing number 9, by the way. That was announced earlier today. Anyway, I am excited about August. But like I said, to me, last year, after Matt Rule got bounced, far too late, but hey, it is what it is. After Matt Rule got bounced, Lonzo and I were covering this team, doing a podcast and all that. So there felt like there was a shift in the way that players spoke. It felt like there was a shift in the way that Fitterer spoke. It felt like there was a shift within the way the organization presented itself. It felt like there was a shift in the way that fans felt about the team. It felt like there was a shift in the overall attitude around this franchise. It felt like a weight had been lifted, metaphorically speaking, off of the franchise. And although there were questions about Steve Wilks, is he the guy? Is he not the guy? Is there, a dark horse candidate out there, etc.? It felt like when the offseason rolled around that Tepper and Fitterer had a plan, that they had a vision, that they knew what they wanted the program to look like, and they went and they executed this in the offseason. It effectively cost you DJ in a second rounder, which, yes, is a big loss of a guy that is one of the better wide receivers in the league, sure. But what would you rather have? One of the better wide receivers in the league and Andy Dalton throw into him? Or a draft pick could pick up a freak show at a number 2 pick that, has some work to do to get polished, but a freak show with the number 2 pick and a franchise quarterback to throw him the ball. A gamble of a franchise quarterback, but a franchise quarterback nonetheless. It's the NFL. You go with the QB. And they did that. And I am getting vibes based on post-draft interviews and players showing up for OTAs, talking to the media, and the way that Frank Reich and Fitterer are talking about BY and all that. There seems to be a mentality shift. And how many times have we talked about, if you think about the best NFL teams of the past 15 years, every one of them had a culture that was easily identifiable by people outside of the program. The Chiefs have one. The Patriots had one in their dynasty days. The Saints had one up until Peyton left, seeing if they can get it back. All of the best teams of the past 15 years have had good quarterbacks and a really drilled down culture. And I'm not saying the Panthers have both of those things, Lonzo, but it feels like they took big steps toward getting both of those things this offseason.
I do have a question, though. Why is Frank Reich getting the benefit of the doubt? Because he was just let go from the team that he was at in Indianapolis. And usually when someone gets fired, you hear about all the reasons why they should have been fired. I don't recall hearing that when he was hired for the Panthers. So does everyone believe that this is just because Irsay doesn't know what he's doing and they're giving Frank Reich a break? Because I think he's got more to prove than anybody, doesn't he?
I'll tell you why he gets the benefit of the doubt, or at least why he gets the benefit of the doubt from me. Jim Irsay. That's the reason. Because Jim Irsay es muy loco. All right? How many Jim Irsay stories? When we talk about ownership in the NFL, outside of David Tepper, because we're in that market, what owners do we talk about the most? Jerry Jones, Mark Davis, and Jim Irsay. And all three of them have something in common. They all think they are the smartest cat in the room and in every room. Everywhere, all at once. Would you say, especially Lonzo, to give you a little more gunpowder for this particular take, the team that drafted Anthony Richardson at number 4, needing a QB, would you say that Jim Irsay is wise and full of good decisions?
I would not.
Yeah, I don't think many people would. Jim Irsay is a dude who makes the decisions as not a football guy. There are plenty of owners who end up buying a team or inheriting a team, and they think because they own a team, suddenly they no football. Mark Davis did not build a juggernaut with the Vegas Raiders. Everybody thought he did. Everybody believed he did. And all Mark Davis did in Vegas, Lonzo, was waste the prime of the career of future Hall of Famer Derek Carr, a man who was going to light the league on fire this year. Outside of that, have the Raiders been a threat lately? Let me ask you this question, Zoe. If we asked our listening audience right now, how many of them do you think could name the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles? The two teams in the Super Bowl. Lonzo, can you name the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Clark Hunt.
Okay. There's one. I'm willing to bet the overwhelming majority of you guys could not name the owner of the Chiefs. The Super Bowl champions.
Here's one of the reasons why, because recently, a couple of times I've seen him hoist the Lombardi trophy after the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Including this past season. I don't know if you knew that.
I'd heard. It's almost why I use them as my example. How many of y'all know the owners of the Chiefs and the Eagles? Probably very few. How many of y'all knew Robert Kraft before the old Any of y'all?
Well, I did because it wasn't the first time he was in the news for stuff.
Before Bob Kraft's story got the old metaphorical happy ending, how many of y'all knew Bob Kraft? Not a lot, because Bob Kraft stays out of the way and lets football guys do football things. He just wants his massages in peace and quiet. All right? How many of y'all know the owner of the San Francisco 49ers right now, a team that is poised to take over the NFC? But you all know who owns the Dallas Cowboys. You all know who owns the Vegas Raiders. And you all know who owns the Indianapolis Colts. That is why Frank Reich gets the benefit of the doubt. Because anybody who watched Indy knows that Indy blew up from the inside out. How do I know that? Lonzo, who coached the Colts the back half of this past season?
Jeff Saturday.
I rest my case, ladies and gentlemen. So Tep did a good job. Fitty did a good job. They brought in Frank Reich, which was a good job. Frank set a vision. Frank set a culture. He made sure to bring in guys who see it. Based on the interviews we've heard from Bryce Young, sounds like he's going to fit in just fine to Frank Reich's system. The draft's a B. The offseason for the Cats is an A+. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show. Got some MLB stories. Got a soccer story or 3 to get in here. Got some more baseball to talk. It's all the sports, y'all. All the sports on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Stanley Cup playoffs, the Devils beat the Rangers 4-0 in Game 7 last night. New Jersey advances to face the Hurricanes. Game 1 tomorrow night in Raleigh. The latest D1Baseball.com top 25 is out. LSU remains number 1, Wake Forest 2nd, South Carolina 3rd. The Demon Deacons are 30. Upstate.
This is Free for This Little Light, a podcast about falling in love with music. I started a nonprofit music school about 20 years ago called the Silver Lake Conservatory of Music. The reason that I started doing this podcast was music education. I'll be speaking with Rick Rubin, Thundercat, Stuart Copeland, Margot Price, Corey Henry, Cynthia Erivo, Sheila E., and Patty Smith.
Please listen and follow This Little Light, a presentation of Cadence 13 on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power.
Do.
When you get any 2 Duralast rotors with the set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done. Only based on data from 2021. Pause required for Loan-A-Tool.
DQ presents The Sound of Summer Calling.
Hey, it's me, Summer. I know you're busy with Beach Days, Little League games, and all the other fun in the sun, but you gotta get to DQ ASAP Paracto right now. The new Summer Blizzard menu is here, and it brought 5 iconic summer flavors, like new peanut butter puppy chow and s'mores. Oh yeah, it's back. Oh, that's my other line. Everyone is pumped about this new DQ Summer Blizzard menu. I gotta go. See you at DQ.
Get it in the app. DQ.
I swore he said peanut butter puppy chow.
Yes, you. None of y'all told me that Auto Trader has millions of new and used cars that I can shop from home. I thought we were friends. I put smiles on your face, but I'm not smiling. No one told me that with Auto Trader, a dealer can deliver cars to my home, or that I could shop my price on Auto Trader. No one. Consider this friendship that you just learned we had officially over. Finally, it's easy. Auto Trader.
It's the final days to shop Spring Black Friday at the Home Depot to get your kitchen clicking. The top brand appliances from Frigidaire, like a new refrigerator with sealed crisper drawers to keep your produce fresher longer, or a dishwasher with its unique blade spray arm for better water coverage that reaches every corner. Plus, with convenient shopping in-store and online at the Home Depot, your innovative new appliances are just a click away, too. Final days to save up to $500 on select Frigidaire kitchen appliances during Spring Black Friday at the Home Depot ends May 3rd.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, The Fan.
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Always live from the Free Odyssey. CBS Sports Radio. Listen on the Odyssey app. Search the
The Rob Brown Show, wrapping up hour number 2 right here on the Fan Upstate. Let me ask a quick question here since we got a short segment. This blew my mind a little bit. Aaliyah Boston goes number 1 overall in the WNBA draft. You have all heard that at this point. She got picked up by the Indiana Fever of the WNBA. You've all heard that by this point. Here's what you may not have heard. In order to make room for their new draft picks, the Indiana Fever waived a young lady by the name of Emily Angstler. Emily Angstler was picked up by the Indiana Fever in the 2022 WNBA draft. She was the number 4 overall pick. She's a New York native, played 3 college basketball seasons at the Cuse, transferred to Louisville for her senior year. During her time with the Fever, she averaged 5.2 points, 5.2 boards, 1.5 assists, and 1.1 blocks per game in 35 during a rookie campaign. That is not even the crazy thing, because, hey, sometimes draft picks don't work out. The Fever have now cut a top 4 pick in 3 straight seasons before the player's second year with the team. Lauren Cox was released in 2021, and Kaiser Godricic was waived in 2022. Neither of them are actually on a WNBA roster at this point. What is happening here?
I'll tell you what's happening.
Just not that good, but they're top 4 picks.
Someone doesn't know how to evaluate talent. It sounds like, doesn't it? Do they use the lottery the same way the NBA does as far as their picking drafts?
I believe the
drafting
WNBA
picks.
does. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But you've got to be pretty bad to have more lottery balls or however that works. So
yeah, being a top 4 pick means your team's not that good,
and probably means that they don't know how to pick talent.
But you have now cut a top 4 pick in 3 straight years. You should luck into one of them being good.
Right? I think we both know that this one should stick.
Yeah, Leah's going to be fine.
Yeah. So I mean, if she doesn't, then there's it's the team is the problem.
Here's the point that I'm making. I like women's sports. I want women's sports to be good. I got the call yesterday. I will be calling play-by-play for the Greenville Liberty once again this year. Very excited about that. Their games start up here in about 10 days. Really excited to call some women's soccer.
I was just thinking, Rob hasn't gotten a new job lately.
This isn't new. I did this last year.
Slacker. Okay. All right. I guess you did.
So, as the voice of the Greenville Liberty, I'm a big fan, a big proponent, a big advocate of women's sports, right? I encourage people all the time to get invested and get involved. I think we should be working hard to create a space for women, but this right here is not a great look.
See, I don't think this has to do with that league as a whole. I just think it has to do with that team.
I mean, I'd like to think so.
I mean, the only way is to do a little more research and find out if other teams are doing this
Right.
aside from.
But again, if that's the case, you got to make some changes, man. Right? You got to make some changes. If you have 3 straight top 4 picks, the law of averages says one of them should be able to make a team for more than a single season.
Well, that GM in the NBA or the NFL or MLB is gone by now.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, they're not
They're
making
going after
that.
2, my
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
You know, if you're an NFL guy or an NBA team and you have 3 consecutive top 5 picks and 3 consecutive times you pick a player who's not on the roster for their sophomore season, you know what they call you? Unemployed. That's not good. We got to figure out how to get some more talent in there, man. Let's take a break. Come back here. We got one more hour. Got some MLB news and notes I want to run you through. Got a couple of NFL news and notes to get you through as well. Maybe a little more college football. We'll see. It's going to get weird. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. Oh, you know what we're doing today? I forgot to tell Lonzo. You know what we haven't done in a while on a Tuesday I want to do today, Lonzo, for no particular reason at all? Maybe we do some faces and heels in the next hour. I know. It's been a minute. I'm excited too. Lonzo's giddy. Back after this for the 3rd hour of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Steven, answer your question. Yes, soon. I have to. So basically right now what I'm waiting for is the Swamp Rabbits because there's playoff games on Saturdays until their season is officially over, which could be as early as tomorrow. So I would suspect probably next weekend.
I would rather that they continue winning, and so would Rob.
Me too. I'm not booking anything Saturday because I'm really hoping that they are going to win back-to-back on the road at Jax, and we move into round 2, in which case the next games will be Friday and Saturday. But once hockey's over, I'll have some Saturdays open.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clear skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
A tradition of mine is to pick up at least one new
We haven't paid up on WrestleMania Nerf wall yet. I'm gonna have to do that this week.
Do we know the loser?
Yes, we do. It's not you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where the hell is Alice Cooper playing? Because yes, Trey. You guys, I appreciate Trey. That's usually you guys just leave me hanging.
Never been to an Alice Cooper concert. I'm not quite sure what the crowd would be like, but from what I understand, he puts on a show. It's not just a concert, but it's a theater type thing.
Always at the Peace Center. Alice Cooper at the Peace Center.
Why is that surprising to you? Do you think the Peace Center is more culture?
Yes.
Then
that's exactly why.
Well, it's just pointing out how his concerts are theater-like, so it would make it would.
Yeah, not like that. Defeating the worst city in America is a priority. Yes, it is. Go Bits, go.
Trey's saying is at Spartanburg.
Oh, it's in Spartanburg? Oh, I just looked it up and it said the Peace Center. Perchance both.
Yes, Kevin. Theatrics, like every day when you pretend like the Bills are going to win everything, but you know it's not. But you put on a good show to make everyone believe that they're going to.
Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products. Well, you must earn commissions on trades. Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. How do you know what's in their best interest? We get to know our clients.
Somebody asked me an interesting question yesterday, Lonzo.
Yes.
Would you, if you had it, the ability to control time, right? You could go backwards in time.
If I could save time in a bottle?
If you could turn back time, if you could find a way. But you continued aging like normal, right? So it's not like you can be like, oh, I go back to when I was 21, because you would go back to that point in time, but you would be your age, right? Like you can't unage. How far back do you think you would use that power to go? 5 minutes, 5 years, 10 years. You go back 10 years, but you're still your age today.
How long have we been together on this show?
2 years.
So I go back about
2 years.
No, I go back about 3 years.
Yeah.
Or
and do
2
everything
years
different so you didn't get stuck on this show.
No. It would be the opposite of that. When a question was asked, do you want to go here? I would say, no, I do not. In which case you and I would have been together for a lot longer. And by the way, I'm not joking about that. That's the exact moment I would go back and say, no, I do not want to work that shift. Would have deprived you of getting to work with someone else but you know. So you go back in time to a place that you could actually change something. That's a moment in time that I could have changed something.
Yeah.
Going back any other time, you're just going back to watch. Kevin, do you actually do that? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you do and sell it to your friends. It's possible.
Sell it to your Lonzo.
yeah.
We got to get you off the internet, buddy.
No. I've heard of celebrity types doing that sort of thing. Some of them even have candles that smell like, things. I think Gwyneth Paltrow had a candle.
She made a candle that smelled like her.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, it's weirder things have been.
Okay. It's the third hour of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Yada, yada, yada. You guys know that I'm a big believer in live and let live, right? Let people do what they like. It doesn't impact you. If it doesn't impact you, let people do what they want to do, live how they want to live, love how they want to love. It ain't your business. It ain't your life. Keep your nose up out of it, right? Big believer. But every now and then, some other people do some things that it just drives me up a freaking wall, dude. Last night, Zoe, was the Met Gala.
Yeah, my wife stopped for a second as she was flipping through channels on the Red Carpet Live. And I'm like, okay, what's going on tonight? And then I heard it mentioned in wrestling. And that's how I know what was going on, because I wasn't going to look it up because I didn't care that much.
The Met Gala is a fundraising effort for the benefit of the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute in New York City. It is widely referred to as the most prestigious and glamorous fashion event and social gathering. It is called Fashion's Biggest Night. Invitations to the Met Gala are highly sought after. It's a thing to be invited to the Met Gala, and the point of the Met Gala, in fairness, to raise money for a costuming department, the Costume Institute of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, is to be very fashion forward, right? It's to stand out in the world of fashion. Which, okay, fine. Again, live and let live. I'm not a big fashion guy. Like, the limits to my fashion is, Lonzo, look at these new boots I got. That's it.
Yeah, but dude, you're not wearing socks.
No, I'm wearing socks. They're
Are you going ankles? Okay.
Yeah,
all right. That's just I thought you have to wear dress socks with those kind of things.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Again, I don't know. I don't do fashion, right? Like, the extent of fashion is Rob works extra hard to make sure that his glasses matches his outfit, right? That's about it for me.
Which when they don't, I can tell it's going to be a rough day for Rob. Yeah.
So the Met Gala is an event that, frankly, I have zero interest in.
I'm a little surprised because you seem to be on the artsy side when it comes to some things. You would think you might be into the height of fashion. Look at that jacket over there, dude. I mean, how could you not be into, this sort of thing?
The Metropolitan Museum of Art is one I would be very interested in visiting, without a doubt. Last time we were up in New York, Courtney and I wanted to hit the MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art in the city. Now, I will say this, a lot of modern art is lost upon me. I will never understand how someone taping a banana to a wall is modern art.
Had this discussion a little bit Saturday. Art is
subjective as hell.
It's up to the individual.
I agree entirely.
Yeah, and
I didn't say it was bad.
Yeah.
I just said I'll never understand it. I will never understand.
You will judge the people who do, though. I mean, because you can't help it.
Because again, I consider myself a bit of an empath, right? Like, I feel like I'm relatively well dialed into how other people are feeling, and more importantly, I'll just ask, hey, man, you don't seem like you're doing great. Can I help? I have never experienced, nor have I ever discussed with anyone, the experience that would make you think that a banana duct taped to a wall speaks to you. I don't get it. The only time I'll judge you is when I think you are lying for the sake of clout. If you see a banana duct taped to a wall and you go, it speaks to me. No, it doesn't. You're a liar. You just want to look smarter than you are.
I could talk about that banana for like an hour. I wouldn't mean any of it.
There are parts I'm interested in. Like, for instance, how long do you leave the banana taped to the wall? When the banana rots, do you leave it taped to the wall?
Well, it becomes a different kind of piece of art.
Is it any different if I remove the banana from the peel and tape the banana and the peel next to each other? Is that twice the value in the art? I have questions, sure.
Yeah, but you just don't get it, Rob.
You're correct. And I also believe that 99% of the people who say they get it are liars. Okay? Now, the next step in that.
This makes me think of Bill Hader in Men in Black 3 when he's pretending to be Andy Warhol.
I also don't get people who, as James just pointed out on the stream, will take a paintbrush, dip it into a can of paint, and then angrily fling it at the wall, and then sell that for $1 billion.
I don't know. That seems somewhat therapeutic because you're releasing your anger with the swinging of the brush, and the paint is your anger as it leaves your body and lands on the canvas.
Sure, but that makes it important to you, right?
Right.
I've never walked outside, like after they paint a road and like maybe a handful of extra drops spill. I don't look at it and go, this paint signifies the sadness of the traffic guy. He's so sad. Look at these paint drops. I can feel his pain. Get out of here with that. You're being weird, right? The Met Gala is for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute. And costumes are important. I am a guy who appreciates good theater, a good movie. Lonzo, you and I both know that a bad costume can ruin a scene. It can ruin immersion into this medium.
It can even ruin the theater that is wrestling. A bad costume can.
Yes.
Ask Karrion Kross about that.
Yes. A bad costume can ruin a theatrical appearance, and I'm good with that. But there's a difference between fashion and high fashion. Like Jared Leto last night, Lonzo, who showed up in a big-ass cat costume, like a creepy big cat costume. And that's, I guess all of this to say,
he's trying to make people forget about Morbius.
I mean,
from here, it looks like Seth Rollins, but I know it's not because you told me who it was. If you hadn't told me at first, although I'm, the eyes give it away that it's not Seth Rollins, but from this distance, it looks like something Seth Rollins would wear.
It's a giant furry costume.
It is. Shout out to the furries out there.
And as I was scrolling around, it's all over Twitter as if this was just the most revolutionary thing that's ever happened in life.
Oh, he with the key cat.
Like, okay, I don't mind a little.
I just have to believe that some of these rich people are actually trolling and are having fun with their costume to the point where they're telling their buddies, hey, watch this, watch what I wear to the Met. And the whole time they're laughing their butts off that people are going, oh yeah, that's really good. What are we wearing today? Oh, that's just awesome.
So brave.
Yes.
My dude, Kim Kardashian is a billionaire. She's not brave for flaunting the tatas. That's how she got famous. That's not brave. That's just how she got rich, man. So brave. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't remember who it was, but there was like 2 years ago, there was a dude who showed up, speaking of Seth Rollins, in a full body suit, but it was lace and sheer. And then he had on like regular cotton boxers under it. Like just, you could just see he was wearing like regular cotton boxers with this like overall body and like pilgrim shoes. And I remember specifically the next day on social when people were like, what a brave, brave look. And I wanted to go apologize to cops and firefighters. right? I wanted to be like, I am so sorry that you guys live in a world that this guy wears a lace see-through shirt and plain boxers, and he's called brave.
So, I mean, how did this thing become popular to the point where people actually care? I mean, good for the museum for getting the money they get for those people attending. I mean, taking donations and being able to run your business, that's got to be nice. But I mean, when did this thing get started? Like back during old Blue Eyes days?
The Met Gala was established in 1948 by fashion publicist Eleanor Lambert as the fundraiser for the newly founded Costume Institute to mark the opening of its annual exhibit. The first gala comprised was a dinner, and tickets were $50 each. Over the first few decades of its existence, the gala was simply one of many annual benefits held for New York charitable institutions. Accordingly, the attendees of the early galas were almost entirely members of the New York high society or fashion industry.
So guys like Frank Sinatra, guys, I mean, like that back during that time.
Sure. When Diana Vreeland became the consultant to the Costume Institute in 1972, the gala began to evolve into a more global and glamorous affair, although one that was still aimed at the high societal set. The event started to become higher profile, celebrity-oriented, with attendees like Elizabeth Taylor, Andy Warhol, Bianca Jagger, Diana Ross, Elton John, Liza Minnelli, Madonna, and Cher intermixing with the city's elite. It was during the Vreeland years that the gala was first held at the Met and that the gala's themes were introduced. Oh, they're themed. Mm-hmm.
So kitty cats might have been the theme. Maybe it was household pets. Maybe it was spayed and neutered. Maybe that was the theme.
Which all those people there were spayed and neutered. All right. We got more stuff to talk about. That's not the Met Gala. Maybe it's because of a lack of caffeine, but the more I look at pictures from last night, I just get progressively more angry. Am I old now?
Yeah, I don't understand your anger towards this. It's a bunch of rich people dressing up. I mean, you know, it's ridiculous, the stuff they get away with and the fact that people are actually care. But I don't get angry about it. I just watch something else. I mean, it just, you know,
I think I look at these people.
You're supposed to be more understanding.
I think I look at it and I look at these people and I go, you know, if you guys just gave collectively 1% of the net worth that was in that building last night, just donate collectively 1% of the net worth of that building last night, you could end homelessness in New York City in a week.
Dude, you're starting to sound like you're about to jump the aisle there. Easy.
1%.
Easy.
The net worth in that room last night was probably upwards of $7 billion.
Probably.
If y'all gave a percent of that, you could have ended hunger in the United States for a year.
They're too busy blaming other people for there being hunger when they could actually help out themselves. Yes.
Hey, there's a big soccer match coming to the Carolinas. Let's just left-hand turn here, shall we? Chelsea and Wrexham are set to play at North Carolina.
Wrexham, that's the one that
Ryan Reynolds, that's
Deadpool owns.
Yeah. Deadpool and Mac from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia bought a team together. That team is Wrexham FC. It is based out of Wales, the country, not the animals.
Didn't they just move up or something? Because
they did. They got promoted based on a very successful season, which once again proves that if you have owners that care and try, you can win.
It also shows you that, you know, commercial ads can be effective because I saw that on the commercial. That's how I know.
Correct. Lonzo, if a year and a half ago I would have said Wrexham FC, you'd have been Wrexham. I hardly know him.
I wish I had a rim shot right now.
Because I'm right. Anyway, they are coming to the Carolinas. They will be playing Chelsea at North Carolina's Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill. That game is going to be taking place on July 19th as part of the FC series, which are going to be an international series of games across the states. Wrexham is also set to play LAFC out in Los Angeles in front of, that's going to be interesting. You got the Hollywood owners going up against the Hollywood team. Anyway, when these teams started putting these cups together, they started looking for places within the United States that they could host a game, that they could host an entertaining game, And they found it in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. The Carolinas are soccer country. You have one of the 3 most profitable soccer enterprises on planet Earth, one of the 3 most profitable sports enterprises on planet Earth, Chelsea FC. You have a team that is becoming one of the most popular soccer teams in America that's not even in America, in Wrexham FC, which even if you're not a soccer guy, watch Welcome to Wrexham. It's actually very good, very entertaining, even if you're not a soccer fan. Details the story of Rob and Ryan becoming owners of this club and pulling it together and trying to pull them out of obscurity, and it's been great. The Carolinas are soccer country, as evidenced by the fact that the first game that they scheduled in this FC series here in the States is right here in the Carolinas. I love it. I've been trying to tell y'all. Now you know. That's big. That's big. I love that. I think that's good for the Carolinas. I think it is good for soccer. Speaking of soccer, on the American side, U.S. Soccer has named its next sporting director. Its next sporting director is a young man by the name of Matt Crocker, currently employed as Southampton's director of football until the end of the Premier League season in just a couple of weeks. He was asked what his priority is. He said it is, quote, to find a coach for the U.S. men's team would be my immediate focus, end quote, as well as to begin preparing the U.S. women's team for this year's World Cup. He said, quote, as sporting director, my immediate focus will be on supporting the women's national team as they prepare for the upcoming World Cup and on hiring a head coach for the men's national team. He said that it is, quote, really difficult to give definitive answers right now. We are working to make sure that we've got the right process to make sure that we can make the right hire as quickly as we possibly can. My biggest focus right now is not thinking about any individuals. It would be unprofessional of me right now to talk about individual names. Of course, Greg Berhalter is not currently the coach of the U.S. men's national team. His contract ran out. They let it expire while they were on the hunt for the new sporting director for the USSF in order to find who would be that guy. And it still may very well be Greg Berhalter, but in a well-received case of the USSF actually listening to fans of American football, they didn't just jump right back to Greg Berhalter. They said, we're actually going to look around. We're going to take a look at the best candidates. We're going to take a look at the best fits. We're going to interact with the players, find out what they're looking for. The fans have spoken. That is not to say it won't be Greg Berhalter, but it's not to say it will be either. And the fact that they're actually making this a process as opposed to just going, we looked, we tried, it's Greg. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a positive step. I really do. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, it has been a minute, but I'm in some kind of mood today. So when we return, Lonzo's favorite segment makes its triumphant return to the show. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for Faces and Heels. We take some awkward social scenarios and try to find out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. It's Faces and Heels next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Mostly sunny skies today, high 69. Mostly clear weather, 45. Wednesday, sunshine, high 69. Thursday, plenty of blue skies and sun, high 73. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Buchitsky on the Fan Upstate. Currently, it's 61.
And now, Mark Ryan's Morning Sports Spin.
So Booger McFarland from Monday Night Football joined us recently on Offsides, and he said something at the end of the interview that I thought you'd find interesting. He said, let's hope Clemson gets back to their winning ways soon, and that South Carolina doesn't catch them. And it got me thinking, how close is Shane Beamer to catching Dabo Swinney? What would be required to get him there? You know, I think if South Carolina wins 3 times in a row in the rivalry, they've got him. If they win 3 times in 5 years in the rivalry, Beamer has caught Dabo. And then you look at recruiting. Right now for 2024, Shane Beamer's class is 5th. Dabo's is 20th. Still a long way to go, but an early lead for the Gamecocks, not to mention the win in the Palmetto rivalry, all of which makes me say, Clemson fans, objects in near are closer than they appear. Beware of the charging Gamecocks. I'm Mark Ryan.
All Sides with Mark Ryan this afternoon, 3 to 7 on The Fan Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app.
He's a former coach with two sons who played professional basketball. Satch Sullinger's a competitive individual, but his golf game was suffering because of painful joints.
Right, that's real important, the golf game. Right, as we get older, we create these bad habits because we're relegated to hit a certain way.
QC Kinetics used regenerative treatments, all natural healing properties from Satch's own body, to restore those damaged joints and get his golf game back on track.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me, all natural, and that's what I'm about. I'm going to tell everybody why I'm better.
Oh, and by the way, it looks like the competitive Satch is back.
We're all in the same boat, and I'm getting better, and I'm watching them stay old.
Go to QCkinetics.com. Get relief and your game back. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Get your game back.
864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772.
Apparently she is back, Josh. You can't get drafted if you're not back full time, I guess.
Or you can just be Brock and go, hey, I don't want to get drafted.
Good for you, Kevin. It's one thing we can agree on. It would have been a bad move if you did.
Games, watch videos. You can even take live online classes with a language teacher. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel.
The lessons online and in the app make it easy to learn from pretty much anywhere. University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
No staring at your phone, no rolling into your face, no sweat,
Rules and contests. Go to the Fan Upstate. Sponsored by Norris Injury Lawyers. If you or a deceased family member work at J.P. Stevens, Cone Mills, Fiber Industries, or Milliken and have cancer, you may be entitled to cash compensation. Call 1-800-REAL-LAW for a free claim analysis. 1-800-REAL-LAW. This is a legal advertisement for Norris Injury Lawyers.
Unique and unlike any other sports talk show, it's Bad MGM Tonight, Monday through Friday from 7 to 11, only on The Fan. Bad MGM Tonight is the red zone for casual and hardcore sports fans. Live sports betting updates for all of the night.
And of course, because we talked Matt Galla, now Matt Galla stuff is showing up on my Twitter, including Katy Perry wearing a lettuce dress, putting on a cheeseburger as Jennifer Lopez walks past her.
If you put her next to Lady Gaga, you got a whole meal.
She also has like a toothpick coming out of her hair that's like this big.
Time for everybody, including Lonzo's favorite segment. It is time for Faces and Heels, a segment where we take a look at some socially ambiguous situations and try to figure out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, who's the face, who's the heel.
Just when you thought it was dead, somebody remembered.
I've forgotten about this one for a while. Decided to dust off an old classic. All right, let's start with the one that doesn't involve family members, shall we? Then we'll work our way up. Young lady says they bought a house with a garden a couple of years ago. She says she has a few food-related health issues and therefore likes to grow her own food. She likes to be able to see where the food's coming from, knows whatever, and that's fine. I've got a vegetable garden too. I'm all in on the gardening. Well, she said, I spend time expanding the garden in the backyard. I've got some rows of tomatoes and whatnot down. And I have had this garden in for a handful of weeks. But as anybody with a garden will tell you, along with the garden comes more wildlife. Insects move into the garden. Because of the insects, more birds move into the area. Squirrels come in, etc. You go on defense against these creatures, but you're not going to get rid of them. Well, apparently, she has a next door neighbor. And the next door neighbor does not like the garden because the garden is bringing wildlife into the area and she doesn't want them in the yard. The lady apparently came over, Lonzo, and was taking one of those canisters of insect repellent that you connect to the hose. You know what I'm talking about? Like you just connect it right to your hose and you spray it.
Yeah, which recently there are lawsuits because of things that it may cause for some of those. Yeah.
So the lady was apparently walking and spraying the edge of the yard right where her garden meets the next door neighbor's fence. It's a chain link fence, right? So she said she was spraying around. And when I went out to confront her, she was like, hey, I'm spraying it on my part of the yard, not yours. So you have nothing to complain about. The lady said, well, the soil's all connected. You're going to get the chemicals in that thing into my garden, which are going to go into the food that I eat. You need to knock it off. The lady called her some names and then continued to spray down the property line. She said it might have been a better argument, except she only sprayed the side of the fence where my garden is, nowhere else in her yard.
All right. So obviously the bugs are coming from that side. So you would spray that side. The lady who planted the garden is the heel. And here's the reason why. Why would you plant your garden that close to the property line? I mean, you're inviting problems. Also, there's a part of your garden you can't get to. If it's right up against the fence, you can't. So you're going to have to step into the garden.
You can walk through mine. We got rows.
Yeah, but still, you're hurting yourself as far as space goes. You should put your garden in a place where you can walk all the way around it for easy access, so you don't accidentally squish the tender young things that are growing that you want to eat later on. It just, she's the heel. Don't plant it that close to the property line. It just doesn't make sense at all. And that lady spraying on her line. I mean, take her to court. You know what they're going to say? This is a ridiculous lawsuit. Get out of here. She's spraying on her side. Now, she could have been nice, and it would have took some extra effort to put like some sort of guard up on the fence before she sprayed right there. But this lady's talking about it being down in the soil. You're right. That rain that comes down is pure and has no chemicals or anything in it at all. And
you're not comparing rainwater to a literal can of chemicals sprayed into the grass.
Depends on where you live. What state was this in?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
Yeah.
I will say this. Garden Lady could have
Those
made
chemtrails have to fall somewhere, Rob.
Garden Lady could have made it easier. You are correct, by putting some sort of ground border down. Like in our garden, we've got a little thing of plastic. It's like a plastic liner that's about 7 inches, and you run it along the edge of the garden. We only did it to create an aesthetic boundary, right?
It looks good too, by the way. I've seen the picture,
so that the garden doesn't bleed off into the yard. Like these are the edges, and that's fine.
And it helps to contain if you're putting soil like that stuff
exactly
in there
right.
too. So.
But let's be honest about the lady who lives next door here. Okay, if you don't like wildlife, I have bad news for you about outside, because that's where all of it is. If you are anti-wildlife, you don't get to go, I really want my backyard. No, that's where the wildlife lives, right? It would be the same as if I walked and I saw a lady popping squirrels with a shotgun off the back porch. What are you doing?
That would be kind of awesome if she's that good with a shotgun.
I'm not good with a shotgun.
I mean, that's some accuracy there, because those squirrels, they don't stand still.
No, the lady with the canister of chemicals spraying it even nearby the vegetable garden this lady eats out of.
Garden lady could be even more of a heel if she lives in a place where there's an HOA, because I'm guaranteeing she didn't get permission before she put that garden out there.
HOA suck. If you're on one, I'm very sorry, but stop. Be better. All right? Disband your HOA.
My
Be better.
HOA consists of possums, raccoons, and squirrels.
That's fair. All right, Zoe. This one is going to resonate, I think, with a little bit with us. Guy says he works for a company that has had to limit requests for time off because they have had a handful of people leave the company recently. Well, not terribly long ago, the new Legend of Zelda game came out. This guy said that one of his coworkers and he were having a discussion. He said, I am very, very excited to stay home. I'm using one of my PTO days to stay home and play some Legend of Zelda. He's a big video gamer. Said coworker came to him 2 days before his scheduled PTO to stay home and play the Legend of Zelda and said, hey, I know you're excited about the game and I appreciate that, but do you mind working on your scheduled PTO day so that I can have the day off? The guy said, why? And he said, because I want to go visit my girlfriend the next town over. It's our date-iversary. It is the anniversary of their first date. Apparently they've been dating a couple of years. It's not like a 1 or 2 month thing. They've been dating a couple of years, but it's their first date-iversary. Would you mind covering my shift and not using your PTO today? He said that PTO requests now have to be filed 5 weeks in advance with his company. So the earliest he will be able to catch a full day off of work to stay home and play Zelda will be 5 weeks out. He told the guy, no, it's been scheduled. It's been planned. I'm going home to my video game. Tell your girl you'll see her that night. And he said the guy's all upset at him now and is trying to ruin everybody's PTO so that he is not alone at the office. Face and heel. Guy who says, I'm not covering for you because I want to play Zelda, or guy who said, don't play Zelda so I can go spend my date-iversary with my girlfriend.
Well, I hope gamer guy realizes the mistake he made. Don't tell anybody why you're taking the day off. It's your day. You don't have to tell anybody why you're taking the day off. If it's approved by management, take a day off. Do whatever you want to do with it. I respect the fact that he was taking a day off to play the game. Steven points out that Zelda doesn't come out till next week.
Oh, so maybe it's not out and it's scheduled in the future.
Yeah,
whatever. Story remains the same.
Now, I could go straight uphill and go that Nintendo's for children, and why would you take a day off? You're an adult. But I'm not going to do that. I could do that. That would be a hill move on my part, but I'm not doing that. No, the guy who's making a big deal. So he tells his buddy, hey, I'm taking a day off to do this. I have let people off on Saturday because of this sort of thing. Because it's your day off and you want to take it off, fine. But just don't tell anybody. That guy's a jerk for trying. So what he's saying is his day off would mean more because he's going to visit a person. He's belittling the gamer is what he's doing. He's saying your reason for being off is not as good as my reason, so you need to work for me.
By the way, y'all's votes are welcome at 71307. Text your vote in with the word fan out front, and we'll read them on the air. Listen, I scheduled a day off, especially at a point in time where scheduling day offs is difficult within a company. I've got it scheduled and approved. No, dude. No. Now, my question's going to be, Zoe, would you feel differently if the second guy was like, it's my kid's ballet recital that day, and she's going to be heartbroken if I miss it?
He's known for a while that this guy was taking that day off. And that's on him. If you suddenly realize you need a day off, that's on you for not thinking ahead.
Fair enough. Respect it. 20-year-old.
And by the way, how many times have I had to fill in for somebody who just suddenly came up with something that they had to do? So I could very easily go one way or the other.
20-year-old woman says, I had a really rough week. I got into a fight with my family. My boyfriend dumped me, and I got a few bad grades on a couple of assignments while I'm trying to work full time. Said, I decided to go to Tim Hortons. That is like Canadian Waffle House, I think. And get a chocolate coconut donut. It's my favorite.
It's more of a donut place.
More like a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah. It's
just Dunkin'.
They have one in a truck stop in North Carolina, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never had Tim Hortons. Said anyway, I was at a store. I wanted my favorite chocolate coconut donut. They had one left. I walked up to the counter and I ordered it. When a middle-aged woman tapped me and asked me politely, it is my daughter's birthday today. She is turning 7, and she really wanted that donut. Is there any chance we could have it? I looked at her and said, I understand, ma'am, and I'd be okay with cutting her half of the donut because I've really been looking forward to it as well. She said, it's a cheap thing to do to only give a half a donut. Can we not just have the donut, pretty please, end quote. I said, I tried to be polite, but I had a bad day. You should have gotten here earlier, and took a bite out of the donut as I walked away.
You mean it's a cheap thing to do? Shut up. She was being nice and was offering to give the girl half the donut. Man, get away from me in line.
So proud of you. This lady was nicer than she needed to be.
So you thought because there was a kid involved that I was going to automatically go that way.
Kid whose birthday it is.
Yeah, well, still.
A 70-year-old girl whose birthday it is.
The world is not a great place sometimes, and when mommy is being a jerk, this is what happens.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
If she would have left that one word out of there,
yeah,
it might have changed things.
Yeah, just take the split donut, lady. You had a moment where you could have been like, you know what? Absolutely. Celebrate her birthday with us. We'll split the donut with you.
And would have
you could have made a new friend.
The girl that was going to split the donut probably would have made her day a little bit better, because not only did she get her favorite donut, but she got to share it with someone. But then the mom had to be a jerk.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Here's a fun one.
I'm sorry we're not really fighting over these, but
I expected more conflict. I'm not going to lie.
It's been a while.
Texter said, Fan, you can't just play the video game on the weekend. You're a heel. It's my day off, dog. It doesn't matter what. If I said I'm taking my day off to go sit in the parking lot for 8 hours and do nothing but stare at the business, it doesn't matter. It's my day off.
It's probably not a good move because someone will come out and ask you to come in. But still, it's your day off. Do whatever you want to do legally. Don't take a day off to go, rob a bank or something. That's probably not a good idea. No, it is not a good idea.
25-year-old man has been dating a 25-year-old woman since they were seniors in high school. They go back a long way. He says, I have a good relationship with her family. Well, decided to go ahead and pop the old question. So he just did it. Well, apparently a couple of weeks later, Papa Bear, his darling fiance's father, said that he felt disrespected and unappreciated, that he did not ask permission to marry the daughter. The daughter did say yes, by the way. Papa Bear said, you disrespected me by not asking me permission before you popped the question. And the young gun said, you don't own her. I don't need your permission. It's her life, not yours. Now him and dad are not talking to each other. And the young lady says it's made her very uncomfortable. I like this one.
Depends on what kind of family it is, Rob. Because there's a certain kind of family you got to ask for permission. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, there might be repercussions, and you don't want the repercussions. You want to be a part of this family? You need to ask first.
Hey. Be a real shame if something was to happen at the engagement party, huh? Be a real shame if you just didn't turn up for some reason.
I hope the dad's name is Carmine, because that would be kind of awesome. It comes down to if where you are and how old the dad is, because there is a tradition that you ask the father first. I mean, that's very old school, and I didn't even think that was done anymore. But the dad needs to get over it. He does. You get over it.
Your daughter's 25 years old.
Yeah.
Right. This isn't like back in the day when y'all were cool with marrying kids off at 15, you weirdos. All right.
The only way he should be upset is if, because you're going old school, is if the son-in-law is expecting a dowry. I mean, if
y'all
you
still do that,
yeah. If you expect me to ask permission, then you're paying for the wedding, and there's some other things involved. Because I mean, if you want to go tradition, we're gonna go all the way tradition.
Yeah, for sure. You got to pay for the wedding, and I want 2 goats.
There you go, at least 2.
I informed dad and stepdad both of my plan, but I didn't ask permission. I was like, I'm be very happy if you're happy, but we're almost 40, so and they were both very cool about it. Both of them were like, absolutely, you're already in. Yeah, dude, she's a full grown ass adult. She can decide. Now, I know for some women, they still want that to happen, and this is a per case kind of basis. There are some women who still want the traditional, please ask for my family's permission kind of thing. But I don't get the impression that it's most of them. Just ask, dude. Just ask. You can inform, but just ask.
I know I jokingly threw the mobsters theme up there, but really there are certain kind of families that
sure.
The old school families, that's what they expect.
Sure.
And I really thought this was one of those traditions that was gone. So it's kind of cool that it still exists, but
Here's a fun one for you. I avoided all kid ones with the birthday exception today. Decided not to be overly contentious. We got to stretch.
So maybe all your hate comes from energy drinks.
It's a good theory. Guy says he is 35, said that he got a motorcycle that had been sitting out back of his cousin's house for like 3 or 4 years now. Cousin bought the motorcycle, set it behind the house, never did anything with that. So he basically went to the cousin, was like, hey, can I have that? Cousin's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything, just take it. Says he goes back to the house. It turns out the motorcycle only needed like 2-3 hours worth of fixing, and it was running great. Nice old bike. So he said, I went and I got it, and I fixed it up. Cost me about $250 to get the parts I needed. I got it fixed. I'm a mechanic. I got it fixed. Then he went one step further. He pulled it apart. He painted the whole thing. He basically made it look like new. Cousin comes back and goes, well, had I known that it only cost that much, I would have done it myself. So the cousin offered to pay the guy for the parts and the time and the labor he put into fixing it, but wanted the motorcycle back to give it to his son as a birthday present. Guy said, nope, I fixed it. You said I could have it. It's mine now. Thank you very much. I'm out later. Bye, Felicia. And still owns a motorcycle. Says that cousin went and told his son that your older cousin or whatever they are, uncle, I don't know what the hell.
It'll be a second cousin.
Yeah. Your second cousin doesn't want to give you the motorcycle for your birthday. Sorry. And let him in on it. Is there a clear-cut bad guy here? There is, right?
Yeah, the guy who saw someone fix it up and now wants it back.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah, and I think he's using it. I want to give it to my son as an excuse. He just wants that bike back for him. He don't want it back for his son. That's just, I mean, and the fact that he said, if I'd have known it was that cheap, I could have did it myself. Well, why didn't you try?
Yeah, you could have.
Why didn't you try?
You absolutely could have.
And you should also be a little suspect when your cousin says, hey, can I have that? And you know your cousin's a mechanic. You know your cousin's probably going to fix that and you're going to want it back.
Yeah.
I just hope titles changed hands.
Yeah. That's a real good question. Real good question. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for Faces and Heels. We're back after this. Twitter trending topics. We call it a day on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Francisco.
Sean Murphy had a pair of 3-run homers in the opener, powering Atlanta to a 9-8 win. Tough news for the Braves in the nightcap. Ronald Acuna Jr.
Hit any of these.
Stanley Cup playoffs, the Devils beat the Rangers 4-0 in Game 7 last night. New Jersey advances to face the Hurricanes. Game 1 tomorrow night in Raleigh. The latest D1Baseball.com top 25 is out. LSU remains number 1, Wake Forest second, South Carolina third. Even Deacons 37-6. The Gamecocks 35-8. Coastal Carolina down 2 spots to number 8 this week, while Duke is up 10 spots to number 10. Campbell drops to number 13. East Carolina down 2 spots to number 14. Fan Upstate is your home for Furman College sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
I'm Bridget Condon with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Jerry Jeudy has gone from the trading block to a fairly secure future in Denver. On Monday, the Broncos picked up the 2024 fifth-year option on the receiver after he set career highs in catches, receiving yards, and touchdowns last season. Browns left tackle Jedrick Wills and Panthers defensive lineman Derek Brown also had their fifth-year options picked up. Despite starting every game since the Ravens made him the first-round pick in 2020, linebacker Patrick Queen had his fifth-year option declined by Baltimore. He'll now be a free agent after this season. Elsewhere, as if the Chiefs offense needed any help, it looks like they'll get it anyway. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reports Kansas City is expected to re-sign free agent running back Jerick McKinnon, who scored 10 total touchdowns for the Super Bowl champs last season. The Bills are also adding a veteran back, signing Latavius Murray to a one-year deal. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
If you have ever thought about remodeling your bathroom but were worried it would take too long or cost too much, then stop worrying. Right now, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has designed a collection of high-quality custom products and perfected the one-day remodeling experience so you can enjoy your new bathroom faster than ever before. It's a worry-free bath remodel from the most trusted brand name in the business, Jacuzzi. For a virtual or in-home appointment, call 800-826-9895. That's 800-826-9895. 800-826-9895.
Today is the day. Today is the day you empty your garage and closets of your old tech. Today is the day you hang up on that dial-up modem. Today is the day you tell that old GPS to get lost. Because while Staples recycles old tech for free each and every day, today during Staples free tech take-back, rewards members get $10 in Staples rewards when they recycle their tech. Cut the cord on your old.
So you're trying to fix what you did earlier, Steven, when you said you were going to be slaying Zelda? I thought I didn't, I get it though. I get it. I haven't taken a day off to play a game, but if I were taking a day off to play a game, I would not tell management that's why I was taking the day off. If I was taking a day off to go to a wrestling event, I would tell management.
Well, they would be there.
Yeah, probably. Might even drive. You never know. I've ridden with them before. It's kind of awkward. But it could have just been me. I got left behind at Panther Camp.
At what?
At Panther Camp.
Oh, did you really?
And missed the shuttle. Yeah. The former host of the original host from here, he thought it was hilarious. It was kind of. It's one of the only times I didn't drive my own car over there because we did a live remote from Wings Place in downtown Spartanburg, and then I just rode over there. Or we rode over on the shuttle. He didn't leave me behind. The shuttle left, and I didn't make it in time. And he could have texted me and said, "Hey, dude, shuttle's the last one. We're on the last one." And they left a little early. The shuttle left early. Wouldn't shock me if Matthew took the day off to play Zelda.
Total Wine & More. Save big on what you love this month with hundreds of deals on amazing wines and spirits. Look what you find at the lowest prices only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly. B21.
All right, time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending, and he will tell us why the first thing that's trending is Big E.
So the New Day got drafted in the WWE draft last night, and not with Big E. It was just Kofi and Xavier, and now people are starting to realize that not only has Big E not been drafted, he hasn't been listed in the pool of draftable talent either, leading to speculation that he is still some distance from a return if he is able to return at all, which is terrible because somebody presented me with the idea last night of Big E versus Gunther.
I would love to see that.
Yep.
Absolutely would love to see that. But yeah, he's not in there. And that's the reason why. And who knows, he may never wrestle again. Doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff for WWE, including when they go and visit, when they have tryouts from colleges. He's been involved with that a lot, which is kind of cool. And he's been on Up, Up, Down, Down, and some other things. So he's out there and about. It just looks like he can't wrestle. All right, the next thing that's trending is Gordon Lightfoot.
Wow. Gordon Lightfoot. And that's it from me.
Died.
Really?
Yes.
It's a sad day. Now we got to go listen to, what's this?
Yeah, Edmund Fitzgerald.
That's the one.
My personal favorite is If You Could Read My Mind. You could read my mind, love.
Oh, I know that one.
Yes.
I didn't know it was Gordon Lightfoot, but I know that one.
I believe that's Gordon Lightfoot.
Gordon Lightfoot was old.
Yes, he was.
I don't know how old. Just old.
Led a pretty good life, I suppose. Was still playing and singing as an older guy, which his style. I mean, you could do that for a long time.
Yeah.
All right. The next thing is trending is Grayson Waller.
Grayson Waller, Lonzo pointed out the other day, was at the NXT draft in the war room, or in the candidate, the green room or whatever, and was like hugging Indy Hartwell after she got drafted and all that. But I did not watch NXT this week, so.
Well, because it happens tonight.
Oh, it's tonight. That's right.
But apparently he did get drafted.
Oh, did he?
To SmackDown.
I like that guy. As a heel.
He's a great heel. Yeah. He's going to be on SmackDown. Who knows what his first program will be, who his first program will be with. But yeah, he got drafted. A bunch of NXT. A lot of them didn't.
But do they all move up
make it
and
on
then we
TV.
get like a whole new crowd, or are they going to go back and forth? Like, how's this work?
No, it's going to be a whole new crop of people.
Okay.
Yeah, which is interesting. Some of these main ones are still there though, like the men's champion.
Yeah.
A couple. Oh yeah, Pretty Deadly got drafted. So I mean,
Big fans.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with that.
By the way, Texter said I had a coworker take off last Friday to play the new Star Wars Jedi game at midnight. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And it's been a while since Rob Brown took a day to pick up a midnight release.
That game's really good, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, I am. I don't know, probably 10, 12 hours in.
I dig.
Yeah.
Texter said this isn't 1950. You don't have to ask anymore. Women can think for themselves. Dad's lame. Still getting some answers in.
All right. The next thing's trending is Iron Man.
Like Tony Stark Iron Man, or like the
Yes.
Iron Man races this weekend?
Yes.
I assume we're getting at least one more appearance of Tony Stark.
That's not why. And I want to make sure I get this in there. 15 years ago today, Iron Man was released.
God.
Welcome to being old.
Oh, my word.
Speaking of games, Redfall is also trending. It dropped today.
I saw Iron Man in theater with my old man, and I was like
15 years ago.
Dude.
The movie that started the whole revolution for the Marvel films.
I was so young. What happened to me? See y'all tomorrow.
You're on an award-winning program.
Lonzo
You have a
sent me off
fiance.
with an existential crisis.
You've got
to
a
end the day.
motorcycle, man. Come on.
Pretty dope. Y'all have a great rest of your day. We're back here tomorrow. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you with the foot. Have yourselves a lovely rest of your Tuesday. We're back to do it all tomorrow, but better on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate. Later, brother.
Let's see how this works.
The Packers and Jordan Love got some protection this morning. A reported one-year extension for 2024. The guaranteed money decreases by $6 million, lessening the hit for Green Bay if Love doesn't pan out. For Love, the max value of the next 2 seasons grows by $2 million. The agreement came ahead of today's deadline for exercising the fifth-year options on 2020 first-rounders. The Giants picked up that option on left tackle Andrew Thomas this morning, so he is now owed $14.175 million for 2024. NBA MVP voting is long over, but more evidence for
I don't think he said he'll punch you in the foot. I didn't hear that. Now I got to go back and listen to see if he actually did say that. I don't think that's what he said. I think I would have caught that.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a lovely day.
Or he'll punch you in the foot.
Or I'll punch you in the foot.